Good afternoon on Bar TV. Welcome to the Austbrokers Canberra Cup Grand Final for 2017. Seaford Oval, the venue, on a day in Queanbeyan that can best be described as windy. Chris Coleman with you, and alongside me for this afternoon, Joe Prividello. Joe, good afternoon.
Yeah, very good afternoon to you, Chris, and good afternoon to Bar TV viewers. Windy but warm out here in Queanbeyan this afternoon. You can see the trees on the far side of the ground. They're moving around at pretty blustery conditions, and we're expecting that wind to get even stronger as the game goes on this afternoon. Gee, just look at those posts waving in the wind. We hope they don't fall down. But
it's not just the posts. Look at these. I don't know what they are hanging off the front of the score of the grandstand, but there's some stuff there blowing around a bit as well.
Yeah, and I tell you, anyone who brought a gazebo tent today is very, very brave. There's already been an incident earlier in the afternoon with a few of those tents blowing away, but the spectators on that eastern side of Seaford Oval there, as you can see, they're braving the conditions.
We'll just pause for one moment while our simulcast audience on Radio 2CC rejoins us, and then go into our match preview for today.
And welcome back to Seaford Oval for the Canberra Raiders Cup Rugby League Grand Final between the Queanbeyan Blues and the Queanbeyan Roos out here in Queanbeyan this afternoon. It's a carnival atmosphere. We've got the wind blowing. It's pretty warm conditions, though, and a lot of locals out here this afternoon ready to enjoy this big one. Chris Coleman, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon once again, Joe Prividello. Just a quick check of around the ground scores at Newcastle. It is the Knights 12, Cronulla 26. That game about 20 minutes into the second half, so the Sharkies doing what they need to do to hang on to fifth spot. It was always fairly unlikely that they would drop that game by a sizable enough margin to lose fifth on the NRL table, but that is the situation there. Cronulla 26, Newcastle 12, about halfway through the second half. We will keep you posted on the St George Illawarra Canterbury game when it kicks off later on this afternoon, and also in sport happening today of a Canberra nature. And we should say congratulations to the CBR Brave, by the way, the ice hockey team. They've made it through to the grand final of the National Ice Hockey League, and we should have some scores from there.
Yeah, we'll keep listeners updated on that this afternoon as well. And also, yes, as you mentioned, Chris, that very critical game between St George Illawarra and the Canterbury Bulldogs. If St George win, they'll be slipping into 8th position and will play NRL's finals football in 2017. This afternoon's broadcast is, of course, a simulcast on 2CC between on 2CC with Bar TV Sports, the internet TV station, also joining us as well. So we're on both mediums this afternoon, Chris. That's the first time I've done anything like that. I don't know if people want to see me on the TV. I don't know if they want to see either of us on the TV.
Well, there's a great saying, great heads for radio, and I think you and I both agree that that's where we fit this afternoon.
Yep.
It does mean, though, that we will have, for example, replay action this afternoon from Alligators Edwards Johnson, and, of course, all our regular broadcast partners, and we do say thank you to them. Let's get into it for this afternoon. This big game today. Both of these sides are unchanged from the last time they ran out. For the Queanbeyan Blues, that was last weekend when they whitewashed the As Magpies 30 blot here at Seaford Oval on a day that, well, it was very, very windy, but about 20 degrees cooler. I kid you not, it was about as cold as I've ever been watching rugby league last weekend. The Queanbeyan Roos, they had the luxury of not having to run out in the snow and the sleet and the ice and the rain and the wind last weekend, having beaten the Blues 2 weeks ago. They are again 1 through 17 as they were 2 weeks ago, and I'll go through the Roos side and then you can tell us who's out there for the Blues this afternoon. For the Roos, now you're going to see Jedi Simbican out there in the number 1 jersey. I can almost guarantee you he'll be lining up on the wing because Luke Dumas, who wears the 5, will probably be at fullback. There's been a lot of that this season, but there's a great deal of versatility in that Roos backline, so they could shuffle it around a little bit. On the other wing in the 2, it'll be Tolokana Aroha Twinavai. The centres, Brian Cronin and Mitch Connolly. Great combination there. Brent Crisp, who has slaughtered records this season in the Canberra Raiders Cup at 5'8". The halfback, Josh Essex. And then across the front row, it's Stephen Dunn. Aaron Gorrell, the retiring captain coach. He'll be coach next year but won't be playing. He's at hooker. Josh Ayres, the other front rower. Nukarua Nagia and Troy Wiley are the second rowers. At lock, it's Isaiah Taholo. And on the bench, Jesse Dent, Jaden Baxter, Aidan Woods, Logan Spander. Every one of those 17 players has crossed the stripe for the Queanbeyan Roos except for Jaden Baxter, who is triallist for the season.
Well, he might get that opportunity this afternoon, Chris, as we look at the Queanbeyan Blues side at fullback. Jake Wheeler on the wings, Brendan Tarwiki and also Francis Fainafo. Tyler Stevens and Thomas Rudiger in the centres. Gee, there's some try-scoring machines in that back line there for the Queanbeyan Blues.
You bet.
In the halves, Adam Missios in the number 7 jumper, and the captain, Terry Campese, at 5'8" this afternoon. The front row, Kyle O'Donnell, James Ulrich and Jake Stein. In the second row, Michael Cullen, Josh Baker. In the lock position, Scott Rutland. And on the bench for the Queanbeyan Blues for the grand final this afternoon, Ben Nicol, Brendan Spears, Elijah Nagata and Aaron McInnes.
Hard to pick a winner in this one. As we've said earlier, it was the Queanbeyan Blues for the 2 wins in the regular season, 36-26 way back in round 2, 24-20. That was a come-from-behind win too. I think from memory they were 20-4 down and won that 24-20 back in round 11. But that was 3 months ago. 2 weeks ago, the Queanbeyan Kangaroos came out with the foot flat to the floor and won at 48 points to 24. So it's really hard to pick a winner this afternoon. My question is, did that loss a couple of weeks ago from the Queanbeyan Blues, who had gone 14-0 to start the season and then lost their last 2 dead rubber games in the regular season, if you like, they then lost that first final, did that was that almost the football equivalent of poking the bear?
Oh, but look, maybe, Chris. I think both sides will be really pumped up for this afternoon's game. There's no doubt about that, and there's no way that the Queanbeyan Blues are going to allow the carnage that was unleashed on them by the Roos 2 weeks ago. I
believe there were some fairly decent home truths slated home in the change rooms after that game.
I'm sure there was, and I'm sure Terry Campese laid down the law at half-time during that game. There's no doubt that... There's no doubt that they'll be both sides will be switched on this afternoon from the word go, and it is tough to pick a winner this afternoon. Look, the Blues, I suppose they've been the class side of the competition right throughout the season. It was interesting for me to watch a few of those games. They absolutely carved up some of those lower place sides in the competition, and Terry Campese, what an asset he is for the Blues to have out there directing play. You know, at times it looks like he's directing a training run out there, and it's tough to believe that it's, first grade rugby league. It's just a class act above all else. But the Roos, look, they've lost 4 games this season, but they've been playing very, very good football as well on the other side of town, and look, it's just going to be tight this afternoon. But it's a great narrative to have both Queanbeyan sides, both 2 very proud clubs in local rugby league out here taking on each other this afternoon, Chris.
That's for sure. We are at scheduled kick-off time, neither side out there as yet, although it appears to me that a few of the Blues side players are just sort of sneaking out, not really doing the formal run-out and avoiding the tunnel. They're going around the outside. I can see...
They appear to be,
Francis Fainafo and Josh Baker making their way around the outside, so I'm not sure...
Adam Missios as well.
Yeah, there's a few of them just avoiding that tunnel at all costs. I don't know whether that's a superstitious thing or whatever, but they're making their move off to the right.
Yeah, but we've got the tunnel forming, all of the juniors, the junior Roos and the junior Blues forming each side of the tunnel there, and both banners as well for both sides to run through standing out there on the field. So it's a pretty good afternoon, Chris. I mean, these are the afternoons that you live for when you're covering local sport, and it's just great to have this sort of atmosphere out here in Queanbeyan.
You bet. There's a lot of people in cars parked around the eastern side of the ground. As I said before, there's plenty even making their way all the way around the northern side of the ground. There's a couple of people who snuck their cars under cover at the sheltered end at the southern part of the ground. And it's just great to be back here at Seaford Oval to watch what is going to be a cracking game of footy as Aaron Gorrell leads the Queanbeyan Kangaroos out onto the park for this grand final. And you look back at grand finals for the past couple of years. Last year it was the West Belconnen Warriors who won. They beat the Queanbeyan Kangaroos. The 2 preceding grand finals, it was Queanbeyan United, a.k.a. the Blues, 24-14 over Goulburn and 24-20 over Goulburn. 2013, it was the Roos and the Blues, 17-16 to the Roos in 2013. In 2012, it was the Kangaroos who lost to Belconnen United. In 2011, it was the Queanbeyan Derby again. In 2010, it was the Queanbeyan Kangaroos and Belconnen. So there's plenty of grand final experience in both of these clubs.
Oh, there certainly is. And, they'll be putting all that aside this afternoon. There's just 80 minutes of football to go here. Both sides know what they have to do to try and perform, as we see the remainder of those Blues players making their way out onto Seaford Oval now, following those Queanbeyan Kangaroos players. We're not quite sure yet who's going to be running to which direction. But there is quite a strong breeze, Chris, coming from the west and sweeping sort of across the ground this afternoon, which is no doubt going to have an impact on this match.
If anything, it is favouring the scoreboard end. That's the southern end. If you're watching on the internet, it's to the right of your screen, but really there's not a lot in it in terms of favouring. It will mean if you're going to kick, you're going to be wanting to kick to that far side of the ground, I would suspect, to the open side of the ground as opposed to the sheltered side of the ground, and let the ball carry along a little bit on the breeze.
Yeah, floating along there. So it looks like, as the way the teams are lining up at the moment, Terry Campese's out there with Aaron Gorrell with the referee. And I think the Queanbeyan Roos will be running to the southern end in the first half, and the Blues going to that northern end. So the breeze will slightly favour the Queanbeyan Roos here in the first half this afternoon, and we're just moments away from kick-off now with a big crowd packed in here at Seaford Oval this afternoon for this one.
Just having a look to see if there's been any ducks and drakes with players named from the bench out there in the starting 13. I can't see anyone changes from the Queanbeyan Blues side. It's a little bit harder to pick them up from the Kangaroos at the moment, but again, it appears to be 1 through 13. The surprise would be if potentially Baxter or Woods may wind up in the start, but I can't see either of them out there at the moment. So it looks like it's 1 through 13 to start the game. Terry Campese will be kicking off. He'll be kicking off into the breeze, such as it is. Well, breeze, wind, gale, call it what you will. The Austbrokers Canberra Raiders Cup for 2017, the grand final about to get underway. Chris Coleman and Joe Prevedello bringing you all the action. You hear the whistle, and it's away. Campese kicks into the corner of the park, and it's Brent Crisp who takes it on the full. Offloads, finds one of his big forwards, and they're already up to 20 metres out. That was Stephen Dunn. Now taking it forward, Josh Ayres. Keeps pushing and pushing. Gets up to about the 35 metres, so they're making ground fairly easily to start with, this Queanbeyan Kangaroos side. Into the bottom of that was Wiley. Got the ball out the back door to Nukaru and Nagir. They're into opposition territory by about a metre. Across to the right they come. Josh Ayres once again. I think Ayres might have snuck on a new pair of boots for the game today by the looks of that. Shiny black ones he's wearing. I see a Taholo. His first touch takes the ball up to the 30. You're going to see a lot of this afternoon, Joe. Players calling for the tacklers to get up. There's been calls for it all through the course of the season. Great little chip kick there from Crisp to Aroha Twinavai. Twinavai can't hold on to the pill, though, and it goes over to Campese. Campese on the return only makes it out to about 10 metres out. So the Kangaroos get there through their first set without damaging the Queanbeyan Blues. Now it's Wheeler, fullback for the Blues. They're still deep in their own territory. They give it to one of their big forwards. Kyle O'Donnell goes the somersault in the tackle. He's okay, hangs onto the pill as well. Now it's Stein. He's a wrecking ball, that man in the front row, the big number 10 for the Queanbeyan Blues. And it goes to O'Donnell. Might have had a loose carry, but managed to keep control of it as he went to the turf. Ulrich into dummy half. Campese goes for the long kick. Now, underneath it, that will be Dumas. No, it's Jedi Simbican who winds up taking it on the wing. And he's up over his 30, up towards the 40. Early thoughts, Joe Prevedello.
Yeah, well, they made good metres there on their first set, the Queanbeyan Kangaroos, getting deep inside the Blues territory, and it was an interesting decision from Brent Crisp just to put that little chip kick across there to Twinavai in the winger there, but they just couldn't get anything going, and then the Blues bringing it back out again. So both sides settling into this game, but they're making good metres, the Roos.
Twinavai was tackled there. Now it goes to Cronin, and he brings it up to halfway. You can hear the referee telling the players to get back, telling them when the tackle's made. Aroha Twinavai again. He's listed in the number 2 jersey. He's a winger, but he's about the biggest unit out there in the back line that I've seen all season here in the Canberra Raiders Cup. Just outside the 30 now. They'll swing it across to the left. Ground ball comes through from Essex, picked up on the far side of the ground by Fainafo. Francis Fainafo, I don't think he's touched it before today. Makes an easy 10 metres. Still upright, finally brought down in the tackle. Outside his 20, about 10 in from touch on the open side of the ground.
Yeah, well, they were a fair way out there, the Queanbeyan Roos, and it was Josh Essex deciding to go for that grubber option. They haven't decided to go for the high kick close to that Blues line yet.
Newcastle have scored in the other game, making it 26 points to 18. Cronulla over the Knights with about 10 minutes remaining. We'll keep you posted on that, but bringing you here on Bar TV and 2CC, the Osbreakers Canberra Raiders Cup 2017 Grand Final. On the attack are the Queanbeyan Blues. Jake Stein with it again on the last tackle, just into opposition territory, right in the middle of the park. Campese set for the kick. He'll kick it right on the kickoff spot in the middle of the ground, puts it a long way up. Luke Dumas gets underneath it, takes it with nobody within 10 metres of him, and he's off like a rocket up to the 30-metre line. Good tackle there from O'Donnell and Missios for the Queanbeyan Blues. Now they're on the charge through Mitch Connolly. Connolly wrapped up, takes his time getting up. They come across to the right. Aroha Twinavai again. Big difference between this and the last time these sides played. The Roos were going like the proverbial hot knife through butter every time they had the ball early 2 weeks ago. Jedi Simbican, dangerous man on the broken play. They wrap him up with a couple there. You hear the referee say, get up, you're milking. Now it's Aaron Gorrell, the captain coach. Gets it inside the 30. Last tackle. A huge gust of wind blows. Dust flies up on the far side of the ground. The grandstand roof rattles and Crisp comes across field, gets around Campese. Finds the offload, gives it across to Aroha Twinavai. Twinavai with a little grubber kick, but it's dived on by Thomas Rudiger. And the referee has thrown in for good measure a penalty as well.
Yeah, so the penalty going there to the Queanbeyan Blues, and that'll be a relieving one. But the Roos, you'd say, are probably just over the top of the Blues here in the early stages of this game, with just about 5 minutes gone here. You can see up the other end of the field, Terry Campese opting for the high kick to conclude the Queanbeyan Blues sets, but Brent Crisp, you just saw there, he was keener to run it on the last tackle as the Blues look to work it out of their own half now.
Understandable that Campese is going to put the ball up. It's going to swirl around on that breeze. Danger will be if he puts it too high up, it'll go backwards. Taking it forward is Kyle O'Donnell, the brother of Luke O'Donnell. Lucky in some people's minds to be playing after he was sin-binned late in the game last week. Jake Stein. Hard to believe it's only his second or third year playing footy.
I know. Big soccer player before that.
Scott Rutland, lock forward for the Blues. Didn't quite have enough speed up there, was wrapped up fairly quickly. Campese, long ball as he switches the point of attack, finds Missios. Believe it or not, this bloke, Adam Missios, has not scored a try this season. He's got great footwork and great speed, but tryless for the entire 2017 season. Now it's Campese, puts the kick through, chasing after it is Tyler Stevens, but the ball wins the race to the touchline.
Well, I think it was a shockingly directed kick there from Terry Campese. He wasn't going to pick his winger up on the way through there, and it was just too quick over the touchline. So the scrum will be set, and the Queanbeyan Roos rather, will get that scrum feed, but probably not the best end of the set there for the Blues. We had the fullback in Jake Wheeler calling for the ball out the other side, but Campese decided to send it to the right. So he did have options. Anyway, didn't come off there for the Blues.
Hard to believe we've only been playing 6 minutes here. Seems like we've been going for a lot longer. Certainly high intensity this grand final. Scrum right over in the far corner of the field, and the Roos win it off their own feed. Josh Ayres on the second tackle gets it up to the 20-metre line. So again, the call, get him up. Yes, that's...
Well, the referee wants a quick game this afternoon. He doesn't want people being held down in the tackle, and you can see there the penalty blown to the Roos as a result of a couple of those Blues defenders hanging on a bit too long there. So once the players realise that they can't get away with it, the game will just continue to speed up around that ruck area.
We've seen plenty of that this season. There's been a lot of holding down that a lot of players have got away with. The referees need to be consistent. The referee, Oliver Levito, the touch judges, Benjamin Sapala and Hushia Thala, and they need to be consistent with what we've seen during the course of the season. Just because it's the grand final, you don't go changing the rules. Let the players play to what they've been used to. It's the Blues on the attack now. Second tackle after that penalty. They're up outside the 20, and that was Nuku Nagir. Again, he milked the penalty last time. He's looking to get another one. Cross to the right they go. Crisp, long ball, no, short ball, finds Wiley. Wiley wrapped up quickly by Campese. And it looks like Rudiger in there. It was Rudiger, so good tackle from both of them. Gorrell into dummy half. Gives it to Taholo. He's had a haircut during the course of the week. Very closely cropped. 10 metres out. Here. Now it's with Crisp. Crisp gets it across to Dunn. Dunn in the shadow of the line. He's pushed back into the field of play. Last tackle the call. They come across to the right. Little grubber kick, but it's fielded there by Thomas Rudiker. He could be playing slips for Australia there. He caught that one well, and now the referee blows the whistle with Terry Campese down. He's copped a knock of some sort, maybe to the head.
Yeah, I mean, we might see if we can get a replay of this one, but Brent Crisp, gee, isn't he a domineering player in that 5/8 position? He towers above everyone out there. And whenever he gets the ball, those Blues defenders, they tense up because you never know what's going to happen. Crisp got the ball away there to the big prop in Dunn, and Terry Campese was part of the tackle against Dunn, and he then brought down the hooker. He might have received a bit of a knock there in back play.
I reckon he's copped some friendly fire. It might be a hip to the head.
Might have been from the fullback there in Jake Wheeler.
Just have another look at the replay action from Allegana's Edwards Johnson, Canberra's compensation specialist. Visit mej.com.au. So here it comes now. Campese goes in. He gets flattened in there, and coming in, there's 2 or 3 players it could have been. Anyone could have bumped him in the head, and he's just a little bit groggy.
Could have been Wheeler, could have been Rudiger. Anyway, he's still down on his haunches here, Terry Campese. They did well, the Blues defence there, to hold out the big prop in Stephen Dunn for the Roos down that right-hand edge. It was the first real opportunity attacking very, very close to the line. 0-0 the score on the MSS security scoreboard here at Seaford Oval this afternoon, with about 10 minutes gone in the Canberra Raiders Cup Rugby League Grand Final between the Blues and the Roos.
The Blues with the ball on the first tackle, pushed back in that tackle, Kyle O'Donnell. Now the Roos not retreating back to 10 terribly quickly. Blues trying to take advantage of it through James Ulrich running at the marker, who wasn't getting out of the way, but that didn't pay off for them. They're only just up outside the 20. Campese gets hold of it, decides let's get out of dodge, puts the ball a long way down the field. This will be a 40-20. It's not just a 40-20, it's almost a 30-10. It's almost a 20-10.
What an enormous kick from Terry. And the breeze was going the other way as well. Let's just keep that in mind. They've got to keep this going here. Quick tap away. Those Roos defenders are taking a while to get back on side, but if they're quick here, the Blues, they'll get a good opportunity to attack the line here of the Roos.
Rutland takes the ball off the tap. He's 8 metres out from the line. They've got a full set of 6 here. They're hard to stop. We've seen it all season from this close range. The ball gets into the chest of Josh Baker. He's 3 metres out. It takes 3 of the Roos defenders to put him down. They turn him around and slow him up in the play of the ball. They come across. Now it's with O'Donnell. Short, high ball to Campese. Campese steps off the right, steps off the left, goes low, turns it around behind himself, gives it back to Stein. Stein dives from the line. Oh, it's poetry in motion. He's a metre short. They go to the left. It's with Campese. He finds now the fullback in Wheeler. Wheeler gets it outside to Brandon Tarwiki, who's pushed into touch. Oh, great defence from the Queanbeyan Kangaroos. Oh, wow, that was exciting stuff. The first real threat for the line.
Well, it certainly was, Chris, and there's plenty of feeling in it down there in that corner. You can see the players, bit of push and shove coming together there. It was a good attacking phase of play there from the Queanbeyan Blues. Play was well directed there by Terry Campese, and gee, that Roos defence, didn't it do well to get the winger into touch over on that side of the field? And especially after that huge kick, that 40-20 kick there from Terry Campese down the other end, they did well to get back on side and to defend that set. That was excellent defence there from the Roos.
Tarwiki, not an easy man to stop. He scored 16 tries so far this season as well. For the Blues, they've lost the ball. It's gone to ground. Taholo popped one out the back door. I think it might have been Nagira was the target, but he's lost it forward. It's either he's lost it forward or it's bounced forward from Taholo, but either way, we're going to get a scrum right in the middle of the park.
As we just have a look on the replay, and the ball came down there from Taholo. I think he tried to pass it back on his inside, but there was no one there, and the ball was knocked forward. So Terry Campese will feed the scrum here for the Blues, just over halfway in the NRL round the grounds. 26 points to 18 in the second half with just minutes to go. Cronulla over the Newcastle Knights, so Cronulla will wrap up that 5th spot in the NRL.
They will indeed. Now on the charge for the Blues, it's Francis Fainafo on the far side. Makes it up over the 40-metre line, about 35 out from the line. They're starting to make ground, and now they get a penalty as well for not getting up off the tackled player. Bit of a pat on the back
Yeah, well, that referee, Oliver Levito, he's stamping his mark in that part of the game, in adjudicating that part of the game early in this match this afternoon, and he needs to do that. The Roos, they can't be holding players down in the tackle, and the Blues get another opportunity.
He's a renowned no-nonsense referee, Oliver Levito. Even when last week's game was just about done, he had no hesitation putting a couple of players in the bin. Now Scott Rutland locked forward for the Queanbeyan Blues. He's about 5 metres out. They give it across to Stein. Stein right in front of the posts, 2 metres out, flops forward. He's a metre out now. Where do the Blues go? Ulrich, run around play, he gets it back. Gives it to, I think that might be Missios in there, is it? No, it's Baker. Josh Baker, you hear the call of held. He's flat on his back, right on the line. They'll spin it across to the left now, will the Blues. Campese, who's he give it to? He runs across field, gives it to Rutland. Rutland can't pass it. He had on his outside Cullen, but he's lost the ball, lost it forward. It's been called a strip, penalty right in front of the posts.
So they'll get another opportunity here, the Blues. We've just heard from competition staff that Terry Campese's got a split lip out there and he will require stitches, but he's not going to be leaving the field for that. So he picked up that early injury a few minutes ago.
Campese takes the tap right in front of the post, about 2 metres out. He gives it to Stein, who was charging like a wounded ball. He gets held up. Pushed back into the field of play again. Ulrich across to the right, Campese. Campese gives it to Kyle O'Donnell. O'Donnell, he takes 3, make it 4 to wrap him up in the tackle. He's looking for the line. How close is he? He's got to be centimetres away. Rutland waiting for it. He's the dummy player. No surprise, it's Campese. Now the fullback Wheeler injects himself into the play. Runs across field, evades 1, ducks a second. Had Tarwiki waiting for it, but Tarwiki couldn't get the ball. Comes into dummy half now. Gives it to Rudiger. Rudiger running from 10 metres out. Make it 5 now. I think this is the 4th. Ulrich across to Campese again. Campese with the grubber kick through and diving on the ball! On the far side, I think it might be Thomas Rudiger. He's come flying in from nowhere to get the try.
I think it might have been Tyler Stevens. In fact, Chris, if we just have a look on the action replay, Rudiger played a part earlier in that set, and I think it was Adam Missios.
You're kidding me. Missios, the man hasn't scored a try all season.
And he gets one in the grand final. Well, we see on the replay here, Campese put the grubber kick through. The halfback was straight onto it, and he dived over the line there. So 4-0 the score, with about 14 minutes gone on the MSS security scoreboard, thanks to Harvey Norman. So the Queanbeyan Blues, the first to draw blood in this grand final this afternoon, and Terry Campese will line up that conversion attempt to the right of the uprights at the northern end of Seaford Oval. Gee, they were down there on that. They were down there attacking that end for a couple of sets there, and gee, it would have been momentous stuff if the Roos had managed to hold out the Blues. They kept pressuring that line there, and just a bit of creativity with the grubber kick there at the end from Campese to allow his halfback in Missios to dive over the line there and score. He came through with speed, and that'll be his first try of the season. So now,
not a bad time to score one.
Yeah, not a bad time at all, scoring in the grand final out of Missios. He's an excellent director of play with his halves partner in Campese, and first blood this afternoon to the Queanbeyan Blues. It's been a pretty evenly matched game so far, with a pretty good crowd out here at Seaford this afternoon. The wind blowing across field as Campese lines this one up, and the conversion attempt is good. So 6-0 the score after 15 minutes here at Seaford in the Canberra Raiders Cup Rugby League Grand Final this afternoon in Queanbeyan.
That's on the MSS security scoreboard around the grounds. We can tell you that it's full-time up at Newcastle. The Sharkies have wrapped up 5th spot in the NRL. They won that game 26 points to 18 over the Newcastle Knights. We'll keep you posted on the other game between the St George Illawarra Dragons and the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. Once it kicks off in around 10 minutes, and we'll bring you the closing stages of that game, provided we can do so after this game. Now, bouncing ball, chaos ball. It's been lost forward by the Roos. We've got a whistle.
Well, the Roos appeared to regather that kick after it bounced off the kick-off. The Blues couldn't gain possession, and the Roos came through there, but it came forward off the Roos anyway, so hard in the mouth stuff there for the Queanbeyan Blues and their supporters, but they end up getting the ball back, and they'll be able to bring the ball out from about 15 metres out from their own line on the right-hand side.
Now, I did see in there a close-up on our monitor here of Terry Campese, and I can tell you his bottom lip is not looking terribly healthy.
Not looking flash.
Oh, geez, now the ball's been lost.
You wouldn't want to kiss him, that's for sure.
No, not in a hurry. Not that I'd want to do that on most days of the week anyway, Joseph. The Blues have now managed to get a penalty again, so a second relieving penalty, and Campese puts this one much further downfield. He's kicked it from about 35 out and about 5 in from touch, and he's got it up to the 40-metre line in attacking territory. So the Blues on the attack. Now it's Baker. He gets the first run. Bit of a high arm there from Steve Dunn for the Queanbeyan Roos. Nothing in it. But Baker wrapped up about 30 out. Ball goes to Stein. Jake Stein. Geez, a big man, isn't he? Pushes and pushes. Nearly always takes 2 or 3 to bring him down. Now to Missios, the try scorer. First time we've said that all season. Campese over to Cullen. I'm still not sure whether it's the bottom lip or the top lip. Terry's got blood all over the place there in his mouth. He's obviously swallowing a fair bit of it. Otherwise, they'd have him off the field for a blood rule. Wheeler. He's wrapped up 10 out, 5 in from touch. Across to Campese again. Now Campese gives it to O'Donnell. Kyle O'Donnell inside the 10. Last tackle. They come across to the right. Oh, big tackle. Rudiger it was. He spun around it and he gets the ball back to O'Donnell. O'Donnell puts it up towards Wheeler. I think it must have been lost forward in there somewhere. Had to be a knock on, so we'll bring it back out for a restart for the Queanbeyan Kangaroos. But gee, this Blues side, they're starting to play with the abandon that we've seen them do right across the course of this Canberra Cup season.
Yeah, unlucky not to get across the line there, and the Queanbeyan Roos, they let off again there. Gee, they let a couple of penalties go to allow the Blues to get back down the field. They can't afford to do that this afternoon, or they're going to be punished down there.
That's for sure. Queanbeyan Blues, they're really not happy about being held down in the tackle. As I said, though, it's been happening largely all through the course of the season. It's a very fine line the Blues are towing, but so far, but for one occasion, I don't think they've gone across it. Dumas, we saw a good little ball from him there to find Cronin. Cronin wrapped up just short of the halfway line. And they spin around through. Not sure, that might have been. I don't know who that was for.
Fullback in Simbican, I think.
Simbican, has he changed his hair? Has he got the hair?
Simbican's over
there. He's waited for the ball to bounce. Has Tarwiki. He's lost the ball. It's over the line. I think it's been dived on by Tolokana. Aroha's with a bye. And the referee says he has indeed landed on it, and he's given him the 4-pointer. It's a try to the Roos with the kick to come. They're going to level this one up. Horrendous kick for the Blues to try and field there. It's caught the breeze. It's sailed downfield, and it's resulted in a 4-pointer for the Kangaroos.
Yeah, well, I think that is a case there, Chris, of that kick being taken away by the wind. And, gee, that's disastrous stuff for the Queanbeyan Blues. And the Roos, well, that just came out of absolutely nowhere. And Brent Crisp will line this one up to match up the scores at 6-all, and he shouldn't have a problem with it because it'll be right in front of the posts. As we see on the replay, the kick came from Crisp from about halfway, and Simbican was running through, and he put the pressure there on the Blues winger in Queanbeyan.
And Queanbeyan there just runs in.
He does, doesn't he? And he just storms over the line, so they took advantage of that. There are a couple of attacking players there for the Kangaroos to come through and save the day and score that try. So it was just an unlucky kick and an unlucky bounce there. Terry Campese was down there in the end to try and defend, but he wasn't there in time. So they hit back here, the Queanbeyan Blues, with about a quarter of this game gone, 20 minutes gone, as Brent Crisp lines this one up, the conversion attempt. And no problem with that. So 6-all the score on the MSS security scoreboard with 19 and a half to go in this first half of the Canberra Raiders Cup Rugby League Grand Final in Queanbeyan at Seaford Oval between the Roos and the Blues.
Not the best of communication between Brendan Tarwiki and Jake Wheeler on that high ball. I think they were both sort of expecting it to go more towards the other. Great kick from Brent Crisp.
Yeah.
You saw he kicked it from just outside 50,
yeah,
and it's landed just inside the 10.
Well, I think that's just showing the impact of the breeze this afternoon.
Indeed it has. So the Blues kick off, low kick off from Campese towards Luke Dumas. Dumas leaves it. And the forwards get involved very, very quickly here through Dunn. Dunn up outside the 10. Now on the charge through is Taholo. He goes more sideways than anything else. Wrapped up on his own 30. Give it back to Dunn again. Just waiting for Dunn to get up. He's made 10 metres. Josh Ayres, the other front rower, and now up inside the 10 were the Queanbeyan Blues. You can't afford to give away penalties there. It was late in the tackle count, and the Roos weren't making a lot of ground, but now they're going to get free possession from about 25 out.
Well, the momentum's clearly shifted in this one as the referee just holds things up, waiting to get the Roos things back underway.
Now it's Ayres up to the 20. About 10 in from touch on the eastern side of Seaford Oval. They go the short side. That's Nuku Nagir. Now they come back to the right. Ayres gives it off to Taholo. Taholo, long ball to Crisp. Crisp wrapped up very, very quickly. Still managed to get that ball away. Not sure how he did it. Now it's with Dumas. Across to Aroha Tuinavai, the try scorer. He's grabbed. He's about a metre short. He tries to go up a second time. Referee says held. Dumas, he finds a short play. Wrapped up just short of the line. Who have they got? Plenty of them lined up out to the left. Quick ball will get through and they knock it on. Well, there's something you put money on not happening during the course of a game. Brent Crisp puts it down. The McIntyre medalist for this season. He won the points tally, the try-scoring tally. He's had, 19 tries, 69 goals in 11 games of footy. He's been fly-in, fly-out working in Darwin, so he hasn't been able to make it back for everything. The jet lag might have caught up with him, Joe.
Well, he's a pretty incredible player, and you're right, you wouldn't put your money on him dropping the ball, but it came across field to the left and unfortunately put it down. He got that offload away a little earlier in that set there.
I can't work out how.
Oh, he's an incredible player. That's an uncharacteristic error from him.
Indeed it is. So Brendan Tarwiki takes it up outside the 10. After that tackle, we get it on through to Francis Fainafo. So both the wingers over on the far side of the field at the moment. Moving back in towards the centre. Third tackle, I get the forwards involved. Aaron McInnes, one of the big fellas, he's coming off the bench now. Yep. Just inside his own 40. Gives it back to Scott Rutland. When these Blues forwards get the ball at full tilt, they are frightening to behold. I would not want to be in their way. Campese crosses halfway. You can see him, his mouth hanging open at the moment. He's sucking in the big ones. Obviously that cut lip taking a bit out of him. They give it back to Ulrich. Now Ulrich puts the ball a long way up. It spins and circles and spins on the breeze once again. It's taken on the far side of the ground.
Yeah, well, Francis Fainafo, he was charging towards that one, but they managed to take the ball in time there, the Queanbeyan Roos, and they'll take this one back out. They just need to play consistent, conservative footy coming up out of their own half here. Just don't do anything silly.
There's a long way to go in this one. Dumas on that set. Now it's with Taholo. I see it, Taholo. Being held down by McInnes in the tackle. You heard the referee there say off the leg, 17. Crisp gives it to Aroha Tuinavai, spins out of one, puts it out the back door to Jedi Simbican. He's dangerous in broken play. He's got out of one tackle. But great work by Thomas Rudiger to wrap him up, and he's lost the ball in there. Now what's the referee going to call?
Referee's going to call it.
Oh, I'd like to see this again. I'd like to see this again.
Well, I think the ball was raked out there by the Queanbeyan Blues defender. As we have a look on the replay, the offload comes away to Simbican, and it looks like it was Rudiger there who tackled him. Oh, gee, I don't know about that. Having a look at it again on the replay.
Might be just after the tackle had been called held.
Rubber the green there going towards the Roos side, who are now on the attack. 10 metres out.
They are indeed. Taking it forward for them is Isaiah Taholo. He's 2 out now. Right between the posts. They're spread out both ways. They go across to the left. Finding it is Essex. They're about 2 metres away. Now about 10 in from the far touchline. Dummy run from Nagir. Instead of getting involved is Jaden Baxter. They've lost a couple of metres. Blues calling on everything in defence. Across to the right. Now it's Crisp. Gives it back to the try scorer in Aroha Tuinavai. Now the other winger, Dumas. Crisp back on the inside to Essex. Essex steps left, steps right, puts the ball down, or has he lost it? He's lost it forward. Oh, the Blues can take a deep breath. The Roos can go home and kick the dog.
Oh, dear oh me. That seemed like he was over for all money there. He must have just spilt it over the line. He got the ball back on the inside, Essex, and he just spilt it. Might have had it knocked out there by one of the Blues defenders there. I think in Wheeler, the fullback, he knocked it out. So great work, great defensive work by him over the line.
Fainafo with it now on the 40-metre line. Rudiger starting to get more involved in the game. We didn't see a lot of him early in the piece, but he gets it up to the halfway line. They're right in the middle of the park. I love this about the Blues today. They're really attacking right up the middle. Now they give it to Aaron McInnes. Comes in as a battering ram off the bench. We've seen it plenty of times this season in this Ospreykers Canberra Raiders Cup. Ben Nicol in off the bench as well. That effectively gives the Blues 3 players in the halves because they've got Nicol and Missios and Campese. Very hard to defend against. Now we've got the ball. They're trying to strip it there. No, but the Blues have still got it. Campese gets it. Goes out wide. He gives it to Tarwiki. Tarwiki back on the inside to Rudiger. Rudiger absolutely monstered in the tackle by Ayres. They're about 10 out. Last tackle. Long ball to Campese. He goes skyward and all the way over to the northeastern corner of the ground. Fainafo flies. It comes off his hand and goes into touch. Oh boy, excitement plus. We've got 12 and a half minutes remaining, 6 apiece on the MSS Security scoreboard with the 2CC Harvey Norman Electrical Superstore Raiders Cup call team. Chris Coleman, Joe Prevedello bringing you this Ospreykers Canberra Raiders Cup Grand Final this afternoon on 2CC and Bar TV.
Well, they did well there, the Queanbeyan Blues taking play down that left edge and through Rudiger and also the winger there in Tarwiki as well, making good metres, and then going back across the other way to the other side there, Terry Campese putting the big kick in. He couldn't connect with his winger on the other side there in Fainafo, but it was a good effort anyway.
Was indeed. So the Roos, as we've seen a lot of today, they're starting a set deep in their own territory. Doesn't really seem to be causing them too many problems. Cronin brings it out for them, up out over the 10. And they come across with Jedi Simbican. Bounces out of the first tackle. Bounces out of the second tackle. They've got to wrap him up. You've got to commit to the tackle with Jedi Simbican. He's finally wrapped up 25 out from his own line. Josh Baker, one of the tacklers in there. Crisp decides to play it down the other end of the field. There's nobody at home for the Blues. It bounces once, it bounces twice. It's rolling into the in-goal area. It's going to stop. Wheeler's had to pick it up. Did his foot go into touch over the dead ball line? I'm not sure if it did. He's run down the sideline. He's got himself back into the field of play, slipping and sliding like an ice hockey player, but he manages to hang on to the pill. Gets it up outside of the 10. Now Tarwiki's come back at dummy half. There's nobody else there, so he's got to run it himself. Does it out to his own 20. Campese's finally got back. Gives it across. He finds Rudiger, Thomas Rudiger. Oh, gee, coming in hard was Nuku Nagir. And I don't think Rudiger liked it much. He gave him a bit of a push away afterwards. Campese gets in again. Long ball over to the far side of the field. It's in the belly of Francis Fainafo. He treats his opposition like a speed bump. And now he gives a pass to Stevens. Stevens is flattened in there by Mitchell Connolly. Connolly comes in for the second tackle. Oh, it's willing out there at the moment. No quarter asked, no quarter given. Campese takes the ball up over the halfway line. Now it's McInnes. McInnes is up to the 40-metre line. We've got a whistle. Play's going to slow down. I'm not sure which way the penalty's going here, but we've got the whistle. They're calling it a forward pass from Campese.
Well, that's a disappointing end to a very exciting phase of play there from the Queanbeyan Blues. If we just go back to that previous set, it was an excellent slide rule kick there from Brent Crisp, sending it into the in-goal area, and the fullback there in Jake Wheeler did very, very well to get the ball back out, and about 15 metres out from the line. They did well to keep that ball in motion there, the Queanbeyan Blues, and Terry Campese sending that ball right out to the right-hand side to allow those on his right-hand side to make metres up the field. So exciting phases of play here with 10 to go. And 6-all the score here in the first half of the Canberra Raiders Cup Rugby League Grand Final on the 6-all the score on the MSS Security scoreboard. Chris Coleman.
Spit it out, Joseph. Spit it out. He's 35 out there in the middle of the park, and they're on the attack. The Queanbeyan Kangaroos. Jaden Baxter injecting himself into the play. Makes 10 metres over to the left. They spin it back to the right again. Taholo. Taholo still going. He's got Wiley on his outside. Doesn't use him. Gets up over the 20. They've come all the way across the park. They're about 10 metres in from the grandstand touchline now. Tolo Aroha Twinavai comes into dummy half. Gives it across. Very quickly to Crisp. You hear the referee call 5 and last. That was Ayres taking it to the 10. What happens with the kick from Essex? He doesn't go with the kick. He finds the quick ball. They might potentially pass that forward, I think, into the belly of Brian Cronin. It'll be a turnover 10 metres out.
Yeah, it was a forward pass there from, I think it was Luke Dumas for the Queanbeyan Roos, sending it out to his left and sent it straight onto the chest of the Queanbeyan Blues centre. And off the hook are the Blues, and they'll look to bring the ball out now about 15 metres out from their own line on the right-hand side of the field. Players down on their haunches. It's been a very physical, tough and a very quick first half so far, Chris Coleman.
Indeed, plenty of people sucking in the big ones with, 8 minutes and a half remaining till half-time. Rutland it was there. Now they give it to McInnes. McInnes, he offloads. Campese, and he's put it down dead. Well, there we go. We saw Brent Crisp put one down dead before. Now we've seen Terry Campese put one down stone cold as well.
So with about 8.5 left on the clock in this first half, Terry Campese making that mistake. Again, an uncharacteristic one.
Wasn't the best of passes, to be fair to him. Went very, very low.
No, it wasn't, but the Roos will now get that opportunity from about 23 metres out. And they can go either way here. The scrum setting just to the right of the uprights. And the Roos going on the attack. They'll be going on the attack towards that southern end of Seaford Oval.
So it's Essex, goes out wide, finds Luke Dumas. Dumas gets over the 20, maybe 18 out. 5 in from touch, and now the whistle for, well, he's lost it in there, and now it's on. The stink was always threatening. Nothing really major out this. Lots of players running in. Bit of push, bit of shove. I'll just have a listen to what the referee's saying.
Walk away. I'm going to talk to you in a minute. Walk away.
So we can find out.
I'm going to talk to you in a second.
There's plenty of feeling in this game, and there's been plenty of contact out there, and the referee's going to want to have a chat here to, I would assume, both captains.
You'd think so. Oliver Levito, the referee. Now this is...
Let's just have a listen here.
You got it. Okay. Aaron.
Okay, so Aaron Gorrell being called out.
The penalty is for the strikeout. You can't do it. If I say, Aaron, you're here to listen. You're here to listen. Aaron, if you want me to talk to you, you need to listen. The penalty is for pushing the play ball. If I say anything, I will penalise it. No.
Can I talk now? No.
So the penalty going the way of the Queanbeyan Blues, as you heard there from the referee, for a strike in the ruck. So they made a meal of that attacking attempt there, the Roos, and we'll see what the Blues can do heading down the other end of the field.
McInnes takes it up over his own 40-metre line. What have we got? 7:39 remaining till half-time. You can see Nickel in at dummy half. That's another big change for the Blues out there in Nagata. He's
Elijah Nagata now on the field.
Haven't seen him so far today. And Michael Cullen. Again, haven't seen a lot from Michael Cullen during the course of the game either. They've got such versatility, this Blues side, in their attack. Now it's Nagata again. This is where they've been strong all season. You know, they start the game with a couple of big boys on the bench, and then they bring McInnes in. Then 10 minutes later, followed by Nagata. Now you can see McInnes again. Makes it up over the 30. Last tackle, Campese runs it, gets it up to the 20, holds the ball, long ball, gives it to Stevens, and Tyler Stevens wrapped up by Cronin. And it'll be a handover just outside their own 20.
Again, not being too creative there on the last of the Blues. You see Terry Campese tried to send it out there to his centre in Tyler Stevens, but the defence read it well and he was wrapped up quick smart. So nothing doing there for the Blues.
Mitchell Connolly gets it up to his own 40. Flat pass. Gets to Nuku Nagir. He's over the halfway line. Now it's with Jaden Baxter. Makes another 15. You can tell the defence is starting to tire. The Kangaroos making a bit more ground, a bit more easily now. Dunn, Wiley, up to the 30. They're not just making it, moving it forward, they're moving it from side to side. They're really making this Queanbeyan Blues defence work from side to side. Crisp, dummies to the left, shapes to the right with the kick. The kick is too deep, rolls over the dead ball line. Jake Wheeler gets it, he picks it up, and I can tell you he's in not a great hurry to bring it back out. He's allowing his forwards a couple of seconds to suck in a couple of deep breaths.
Yeah, players on both sides would be tired now, and too much on that kick there. Too much gas on it from Brent Crisp, not allowing his outside men to have an opportunity to get through and score there. They're a fair way out from the line as well. I think they need to try and get a little bit closer to that goal line of the Queanbeyan Blues, and that'll certainly help their attacking flair if they're able to do that. Maybe something to focus on at half-time.
McGuinness on the third. He's 2 metres short of halfway. Campese runs into dummy half, runs it himself, runs across the halfway line. Still running across the halfway line. Puts the ball out to support in Tyler Stevens. Stevens has lost it. It's been picked up by Essex. Turnover of play. Blues looking to keep going. It's the Roos who've got the ball now through Cronin. Up over the 30. Connolly to Nagier. Nagier shapes to pass it to the right. Takes it himself up to the 20-metre line. 10 in from touch on the far side, and you heard there. You'll hear the referee perhaps give a few more words here as he moves up to the penalty spot. No, just holding down. So now this is an easy 2 points for the Queanbeyan Roos here. It is a grand final.
And it's been pretty evenly matched, and the defence has been good, but they go for the quick tap now through Jaden Baxter.
Baxter 10 out, right in front of the posts. In the headgear, it's Jesse Dent. Dent pushes and pushes. It's his first touch of the day, and he's almost made it a try. He's a metre or two out from the uprights. They try to burrow in underneath. Ball held up and held short. That was Aaron Gorrell. Dent in at dummy half. Ball comes back deep. Crisp dragged to the ground by Campese, and now Crispy's pushed Campese in the face. Campese didn't like it very much.
No, a bit of push and shove there from the 2-5-8s.
Ref said nothing in that. Get on with the game. Steve Dunn's charged to the line. Last tackle. Dumas gives it to Crisp. Crisp kicks it through. It's been knocked around. Knocked forward, knocked back, knocked forward. Oh, he's knocked it all over the place. Pretty ordinary pickup.
And the Queanbeyan Blues will end up getting that ball there. So 3.5 to go here. 6-all the score on the MSS security scoreboard in this grand final between the Blues and the Roos. And been a pretty evenly matched game so far. Both sides getting the upper hand at different stages. And not much in it. Not much in it at all.
Try here would give you such huge momentum.
Going into half-time, absolutely.
Cracking game of football it's been as well here. This Osbrokers Canberra Raiders Cup Grand Final. Chris Coleman and Joe Prevedello, the TCC Harvey Norman Electrical Superstore Raiders Cup call team, bringing you all the action here on 2CC and Bar TV this afternoon. As once again it's Elijah Nagata. He's such a difficult man to stop. Up over halfway. Now they come across to the left. Campese. He finds Baker. Baker still going. Gets inside the 40-metre line. Now Campese takes it himself. Oh, he's through a gap. He gets the ball over to McGuinness. McGuinness has lost it. I think it might have been lost forward. Referee says
6 again.
6 again. So it's with the big man Nagata. Hopefully he knows it's 6 again. It doesn't try anything silly. He's okay. He's got it. Nickel into dummy half. Now it's with Campese. Oh, Campese. He gives it across to Wheeler. Wheeler. Oh, he dives for the line. He's wrapped up a metre out. Quick play the ball. They come across to the right. Campese again. Goes to Missios and bounces out. Bounces over the try line. And once again, the Roos defence is just good enough. It doesn't matter how good you are as long as you're just good enough, Joe.
So close. And gee, Terry Campese busting tackles in and out there. He played a couple of critical plays there at different stages of that set, directing play and breaking the line of the Roos. We see they went to the right-hand side and he popped the pass away to Missios and he fumbled it over the line and unfortunately just couldn't keep his paws on it. But it was great there. The fullback in Jake Wheeler almost made it over the line under the posts a couple of tackles earlier. So very lucky the Roos not to concede there.
80 seconds till half-time, and Jedi Simbican, I love watching this guy play. He's not afraid to go into the tackles, take a step back and go again, and he's done it again on that occasion. He's only 24 out from his own line. Crisp gives the ball to Dunn. Now in the middle of the park, it's Dent on to Essex, and he finds Nuku Nagir. No score at the ANZ Stadium between St George Illawarra and Canterbury. That game only about 3 minutes in. Baxter. Now Crisp Goes for the big towering kick. This is from outside his own 40. Taken on the full by Wheeler on his 10. Now with 30 seconds left, they can maybe try something fancy on one play to see what they can do. Otherwise, I suspect they'll be happy to take it in at a 6-all game at half-time. Geez, Chris was up fast, and he's stolen the ball in the tackle, and then he loses it forward. Well, what do you do in that situation? You've really got to hang on to the ball, and he had nowhere to go, and Chris suddenly realised, oh, well, there's a surrender tackle coming up here. It's Missios. Chris grabs him, slings him around like a child's toy. It's actually not Missios, it's Taueki. And Taueki lost the ball. Chris got it, lost the ball. Campisi's dived on it. And with no time left on the clock, there's the siren, and it's half-time, 6 points apiece. We'll come back and wrap up the first half in just a moment. This is the 2CC Harvey Norman Electrical Superstore Raiders Cup call team. I need a breath. You need a breath on the MSS Security scoreboard at 6 apiece as we take a break.
And welcome back to the Austbrokers Canberra Raiders Cup Rugby League Grand Final in first grade this afternoon here at Seaford Oval. Chris Coleman and Joe Previdello with you on 2CC and also Bar TV Sports this afternoon. Half time as we see the Roos coming out from the sheds to get ready for this second stanza. 6-all is the score on the MSS Security scoreboard. Chris Coleman, we couldn't have hoped for anything better this afternoon.
No, absolutely not. We'll keep you posted on the NRL as well. 10 minutes gone in that game. St George Illawarra no score. Canterbury 6. And in the Australian Ice Hockey League Grand Finals, not looking good for the Canberra side down in Melbourne. The Melbourne Ice leading the Canberra Brave 3-1 now, and to quote the Canberra Brave, going to take one hell of a comeback now. So we wish them well, but I've got a sneaking suspicion that the good old cup, as it's called, will be going south once again. 40 minutes remaining here at Seaford Oval. The weather forecast, now let's just put this into context, right? The weather forecast was for the wind to really pick up at around 4 o'clock this afternoon and then to drop away. And Joe, just having a look out there, it does look like it has eased off a little bit. The goalposts were waving around earlier in the afternoon, but they've certainly stopped moving, and the trees on the far side of the ground, while they're still blowing around, nowhere near as much movement as we saw earlier in proceedings.
No, it appears the bulk of that front may have come through there in the first half, and things have calmed down now, as you mentioned, but I wouldn't say we're totally out of the woods just yet. We saw some driving rain come down during that reserve grade clash, and who knows, whether there'll be any more on the way here. So, we can't be sure that we're totally out of the woods with that. As the Blues side come back out onto the field and will run to the southern end in this second half of the grand final. It's been very evenly matched, Chris Coleman. What do you see as the impact in the second half?
There are two factors that come into this. Do you want to go in match hardened or do you want to go in rested? And I don't know. I've never known which way to go. The Queanbeyan Blues go in match hardened. They played last week, albeit in a game that petered off a little bit in the last 20 minutes in terms of speed, not in intensity. There was a bit of a stink late in that game against the Yass Magpies. While the Queanbeyan Kangaroos, they've had the week off. The bye doesn't come into this because the bye was several weeks ago for both sides, so it's who handles it better, the rested side or the match-hardened side, as the Kangaroos kick off and the Blues make a complete hash of it with the Brendan Spears diving at the ball and tapping it as it's gone over the sideline, and it'll be a scrum to be fed by the Queanbeyan Kangaroos deep in attack, probably outside. We'll just catch a replay on this thanks to Malaganis Edwards-Johnson.
Oh dear, yeah, Spears didn't even need to dive at that one, I don't think.
I think if he'd left it, if he hadn't got a hand on it, would have been a Blues ball.
Yeah, well, that's a horrible way for the Blues to start this second half, and they're starting quickly, the Roos. They go the short side.
Essex takes it to 10 metres out, about 10 metres in from touch, grandstand side. 6 points apiece on the MSS Security scoreboard. Across to the right they go. In there is Nageer. Push to the ground. Gorrell comes in, runs it from dummy half, looks for the line. He spots the line. He's turned turtle. He's on his back. He can't get the ball down over his shoulder despite trying. Now they go across to the right, well wide. Bringing it to the line is done. 3 of them in the tackle, including Josh Baker around his ankles. Dent comes into dummy half. They're across to the right. Long ball, a secondary long ball. Could be Wiley in there. He's lost it. Lost it backwards, picked up there by Luke Dumas, who's charging on it, but the referee, Oliver Levito, maybe with a bit of assistance from his touch judge, says that he's lost it forward.
Well, that's a let-off there for the Blues side after Brendan Spears seemingly put the ball over the sideline, and they had a very good opportunity there, the Queanbeyan Roos, but again, not much coming from it. And they've got to be very, very careful here this afternoon. They've got to defend like there's no tomorrow, because there isn't.
Too true. Too true. The Dragons have equalised around the ground, 6 apiece. The try to Joel Thompson converted by Gareth Widdop. 13.5 gone in the first half in that game, and we'll take you to that one after the conclusion of the presentations here at Seaford Oval this afternoon. But it's the Queanbeyan Blues on the attack now through Josh Baker. He gets up to about 35 out from his own line. He's very slowly up. He might have copped a bump there. Campese, who he assumes had stitches in his lip at half-time, finds the ball to Aaron McGuinness. McGuinness lying on his back, 1 metre short of the halfway line. In at dummy half is Nickel, gives it to Campese. Campese cut out pass to Cullen. Cullen makes another 10 metres, so he's on the attacking 40 metre line. Referee says last tackle. They go across. Campese puts the ball high. Now, waiting underneath it is Dumas. No, it's Simbican who ends up taking it. Almost Aussie rule style. Flies up, takes the big chest mark, lands on the 20-metre mark, on the 20-metre line, and now they come back into attack through Brian Cronin. Cronin, 3 of them wrapping him up. Now it's just 2 as McInnes peels off the tackle. Missios goes in for a secondary one. Lucky not to give away a penalty there. They don't want to be giving away silly penalties either side here. This game could come down to one silly mistake. It could come down to a field goal. There's not a split hair between the two of them at the moment, as once again the Queanbeyan side are on the attack. They get up to the 40-metre line through Steve Dunn. Now with the kick downfield is Brent Crisp. There's a player down injured over the dead ball line, Joe's telling me. Who have we got down there, Joe? Have you got any indication? Just keep an eye on it for us, and I'll tell you as Wheeler is on, having retrieved that kick downfield, he gets just back into the field of play. So it's 13 on 12, or they managed to get a replacement out there. I hope they got a replacement out, because the injured player down there for the Queanbeyan Roos is out over the dead ball line at the end. Is it Aaron Gorrell?
I think it might be Aaron Gorrell.
It is indeed. Gee, that's a big loss for the Queanbeyan Roos. They played a few games without him during the course of the season, and he's limping off. So that is really bad news for the Roos.
Let's see if he improves. He might improve over the next couple of minutes or so, but it's not like he's down on the ground, so he's still walking along. So hopefully he can get back out there, but that is a big loss there for the Roos side, losing their captain out there.
So Campese with the kick downfield on the last one, and has that gone out on the full? No, is that another 40-20 from Campese?
Was he short of the 40-metre line?
Not sure he's kicked it, but if it's a 40, if he's kicked it from inside the 40, it's wound up inside the 10. The Roos aren't in any hurry to get back here. Campese's coming up. He's going to stand on the 10-metre line. Let's see where he goes here. I didn't hear the referee call a 40-20, so I'm assuming it was outside.
Could be making first tackle.
Okay, just a little bit of conversation down there at ground level, but nothing terribly much to worry about. Where was he? Oh, he was about 6 inches outside the 40.
So bad luck there, because the ball took a turn and just before the corner post went out of the field of play. So the ball fed there by the Roos.
Roos scrum feed. Running it out in the flashy orange boots is Aroha Tuanavai. Dent getting involved. He's going to be very heavily involved in this second 40, you would imagine. They come around to the far side of the field once again through Steve Dunn. Flailing boots in that tackle. Dent again. They're up over the 30, right in the middle of the park, the Blues. 6 points apiece on the MSS Security scoreboard. 5 gone in the second half of the Osbreakers Canberra Raiders Cup Grand Final. It was Logan Spander with a spin in the tackle. He's just short of the halfway. Not the world's fastest player of the ball. Crisp puts the kick down into the far corner. Now, he might have knocked that back there, Tawiki, but the referee and the touch judge have said no, he's knocked it forward. Well, Tawiki's not having a day to write about, is he?
No, that's unlucky from Brendan Tawiki. It appeared to go backwards, but the referee disagreeing there. It was a great barrel kick there from Brent Crisp. Classic stuff from the 5/8 for the Roos.
No, good call. Good call. Tawiki's hands, he's taken it behind him, and as his hands have come down, it's almost like a sweep second hand on the clock. He's taken it up at at about the 10 o'clock position, and he's let go of it at the 8, and it's kept going forward. It's only gone forward by a couple of inches, but
tough
forward
ones
it is.
to take those spiral kicks as well. They get an opportunity here, the Roos.
Wind not helping. Crisp running and still going. Pushes off one, turns back to his right. He push off the second. No, he's brought down by Rudiger, just inside the 20. Now Essex goes for a run from dummy half. He's lifted up in the tackle. Careful, boys. Put him down gently. They do. About 12 out. Spander. Speaking of try-scoring machines, Dunn, and then over to Jesse Dent. Spander scored 6 and Dent scored 6, and most of them have come from the bench. Spander in at dummy half. Puts the ball out wide. That was Baxter. Now Essex charging for the line. He's over the line, but he's on his back.
Held up, the referee says.
Very quick in on the call there. Now Cullen is one of the tacklers there.
So they'll bring the ball back out to the 10 to play it.
5 and last. You might have been able to hear Oliver Levito, the referee, saying in the background. So last tackle being played from, 8 metres out. Let's not call it 10. Crisp puts the grubber kick through, picked up by Wheeler. Wheeler gets around one, gets around two, brought down in the third tackle. There was nobody else behind him. Would have been put the glasses down, you're off to the races, son.
Well, I don't know who Brent Crisp thought he was going to kick that ball to, but it ended up right in the lap of the fullback there in Jake Wheeler for the Blues, and it was all too easy. So a disappointing end of the set there.
They're starting to make ground really easily at the moment, the Blues, aren't they? Nagata on, I think that was only the second tackle. Campese now gives it across to Baker. Baker looking for the halfway line. He's finally pushed back a little bit, slammed to the turf, just left of the centre spot. Now Nickel runs it from dummy half, makes another 10 metres very easily. Now we've got the last tackle is the call. Just inside the 40. They go to the left. Campese puts the ball high in the air, waiting underneath it. You've got Dumas and Simbican. Simbican takes it. He's brought back. Oh, just stays in the field of play.
Well, it was a great tackle there from Tawiki, almost to bring the receiver of the ball into the in-goal area, but not to be. It was a good effort anyway. Gee, he likes those high bombs, doesn't he, Terry Campese? Kicking from about 30 metres out. He likes to put those back three under pressure there for the Queanbeyan Roos, and it's been working this afternoon.
Has been. Plenty of pressure at the tail end. Through a very quick set of six for the Queanbeyan Kangaroos. They've kicked it downfield. Now having to chase it there is Jake Wheeler. He's let it go into touch. I thought it had gone into touch. Now there's plenty of people getting excited by Jedi Simbican because he's picked it up after the ball's bounced back into the field of play, but there's been a whistle. You might have heard it peep through in the background on the effects mic there, and it will be a scrum to the Queanbeyan Blues about 25 metres out. But geez, Jake Wheeler not just playing with matches, playing with the whole box, and maybe a pack of Jiffy Firelighters in there as well. Yeah, score remains 6 apiece. MSS Security scoreboard, half an hour remaining.
Yeah, well, both sides have had their opportunities in the first 10 minutes of this second half, but no one's drawn blood as of yet. And still a good crowd in here this afternoon, enjoying the carnival atmosphere. We've had a few grand finals here at Seaford this afternoon, and this being the final one, the first grade grand final, and 6-all the score.
Still 3-1 in the National Ice Hockey League Grand Final between Canberra and Melbourne. That's in favour of the home side, Melbourne, down south. And in the NRL this afternoon, St George Illawarra, Canterbury Bulldogs are at 6 points apiece, 21 gone in the first half. Time back on here with 30 minutes remaining in the Osbrokers Canberra Raiders Cup Grand Final. Tawiki takes the ball up to the 30-metre line for the Queanbeyan Blues. Campese gives it off to Elijah Nagata. Nagata, I think he's lost that. He has been picked up by Crisp. So Brent Crisp, Johnny on the spot. Benny on the spot, perhaps. He's got it.
He's a big man.
He is.
But he stole the ball there.
Now they come across and find Aroha Tuinavai. He's been in everything this afternoon, has Tolokana Aroha Tuinavai. If he gets man of the match, I hope they can fit his name on the medal. Now it goes to Baxter. Baxter up inside the 20. The Blues are dropping back, not as quickly as they'd like to, I'd imagine. Now it's done to Essex. Essex brought down by 3. 10 metres out, directly in front of the post. They'll come back across to the right. Dent steps off his right foot, pushes back in towards the posts again. He's about 3 short, I think. Spander comes into dummy half, gives it to Essex. Essex puts the kick through, dived on by Tyler Stevens, we haven't seen a lot of in the last 15 minutes or so. But he gets hold of it.
And again, the Roos just not being able to make anything off the grubber kick there at the end. Tyler Stevens, it was just too easy for him to pick up. So they've just got to find something more, I think, the Roos. They're getting in good field position to attack the Blues line, but they're just not finishing their sets properly at the moment. Hopefully they won't cost them later in the game, but they've got to find something more than that.
Elijah Nagata on the third. Pushes out a 1. Jesse Dent doesn't look terribly comfortable as Nagata still going. Gets up to the 40. Looking to see if Dent gets back on side. There he goes now. Campese still going. Puts the kick forward from the 40. Waiting for it is Dumas, but Dumas can watch that one. And it rolls over the dead ball line and out of play. And it'll come back to the 20-metre for a restart. You can see on the scoreboard on the screen there on Bar TV, 28 minutes remaining. 6 points apiece on the 2CC Harvey Norman Electrical Superstore Raiders Cup call this afternoon. We'll keep you up to speed with what's happening at the pinnacle of local rugby league.
And likewise from Terry Campese, not putting much pressure there on the defence of the Roos. Too much gas on that kick there, sending it through and over the dead ball line, as the Roos now get a relieving penalty, and they'll be able to get things underway well inside the Blues half. So another opportunity. They've just got to finish their sets well. They're doing everything well up until that point. They've just got to finish off well.
You get the feeling that the Blues are just hanging on at the moment. The Roos with certainly the bulk of possession.
They've done a lot of defending.
And now we've got another whistle in here. Well, this will be a penalty to the Queanbeyan Kangaroos, and you've just got to start to wonder. 13 minutes gone. This penalty is from, 22 out, just to the right of the posts, but Crisp decides, no, they're going to tap it and go, gives it to Troy Wiley. Wiley gets up inside the 20. 15 out, 5 to the right of the posts. Spander in a dummy half, runs it himself, look away pass to Woods. Woods wrapped up on the 10. Now Spander runs it himself from dummy half. Oh, danger, danger, danger! He's held up over the line. 4 Queanbeyan Blues players getting underneath him. Oh, Spander, very, very quick. Opportunistic play, saw that the Blues weren't quite back.
Yeah, he ran in there like a thief in the night, Logan Spander, member of the Raiders under-20 squad. He's an asset out there this afternoon for the Roos side. And you do get the feeling that the Blues, they're just being worn down. They've got to focus on their defence here.
They need to get a couple of sets down the other end of the park, because this will be energy-sapping stuff for them as well. Bear in mind, they played last week in almost 0-degree temperatures. Now they're out there on a day where it's 20-plus degrees. The contrasting conditions really will be energy-sapping for them if they can't get away from it. Now they get the ball and they lose the ball to the Roos. And that's, again, Joe, what you've been saying for the last couple of sets for this Queanbeyan Kangaroos side. They get up there, and then on the last tackle, they just don't seem to have an option. Are they missing their captain, Coach Aaron Gorrell, and some of the direction that he provides out there?
Well, you'd have to think so at the moment. And on the right, they went to the right side there, and they just couldn't get something going there. It was Spander there in dummy half. But they've had all the field position, and the Blues have been forced to defend hard, but they just can't get anything going on that last tackle, the Roos, and they'd be very disappointed with that first 15 minutes of this second half. And the Blues, they'll be counting their lucky stars at the moment. They get a reprieve. Terry Campese kicks for touch, and they will look to start their set and get over the halfway line.
Around the grounds in the Australian Ice Hockey League Grand Final, the Melbourne Ice have made it 4-1 now with 5 minutes to play in that Grand Final over the Canberra Brave. In the National Rugby League, 27 gone in the first half. It's St George Illawarra 6, Canterbury Bulldogs 6. And a reminder, we'll take you to that game, the closing stages of that game, once the presentations have been completed here at Seaford Oval. But it's the Queanbeyan Blues finally getting some good territory. Campese with the ball on the 30. Now he offloads, finds it over on the far side to, pardon me, Josh Baker. Baker still going. He's about 25 out. He's flat on his back at the moment. Takes his time to get up. Nickel comes into dummy half. Now Campese round the outside. Might have been Cullen in the bottom of that. It was. Nickel in again. Campese. What's he do with it? Finds the chest of Josh Baker. Baker almost through a gap, wrapped up at the last minute by Isaiah Taholo. Campese, he's gone for the drop goal, and I think he's put it through from about 10 metres in front. Well, if you can't score a try in a close game, even though there's 25 minutes left on the clock, you might as well put it over for the dot.
Well, that was probably only the second time in this second half that the Blues were actually inside the 20-metre zone there of the Roos, and it was an unconventional way to go for a field goal, but Terry Campese decided that putting the side 7 points to 6 up with 24 minutes to go in this grand final was the most sensible thing to do. They were like the Roos up the other end. The Blues have had trouble finishing off their sets, and that'll send them 7 points to 6 up on the MSS Security scoreboard with 23:50 left on the clock here at Seaford.
One of the ugliest field goals you would ever want to see.
Unconventional.
I don't think Terry Campese will care one iota as the Blues get the ball back. Misios gives it off to Stein. Stein, he's lost that ball. Now there's a couple in the tackle there, so it's going to be called a strip. It is indeed a strip.
Yeah, Spander thought he could get away with that one, and gee, if he had, he would have been straight through and under the black dot to score.
There was nobody there. We're just checking the replay action on the field goal now for Malaganas Edwards-Johnson. It was an ugly kick. It wobbled over from
unconventional is an understatement.
Wobbled over just inside the left upright, but it was in there.
Anyway, it did the job. They're ahead on the scoreboard.
It's all that matters. In the end, it's how many, not how you do it, isn't it? And the Queanbeyan Blues, they do seem to have just a little bit more of a spring in their step now. They're playing from in front. Rutland gives the ball back to Nickel at dummy half. He finds Brendan Spears. Spears up over the halfway. 10 metres into opposition territory. Nickel again. Really setting things up for them. Misios, Campese.
Oh, intercept!
He's thrown it. Was a potentially forward pass. I don't think it's going to matter. He's on the charge. He's the big man. In a Roha to Inavai. He's been wrapped up about 15 out. Crisp gets into dummy half. Now finds Jedi Simbican. Simbican gets to 10 metres out. Oh, the pressure suddenly turned right back up on the Queanbeyan Blues. They wouldn't know pressure like this. They haven't seen it hardly all season. Now it's with Essex. He finds the Nigir on his outside.
Oh, big
tackle! Who's that? Francis Fainafo has flattened Brian Cronin. Now the ball with Ayres. He's about 8 metres out, directly in front of the posts. What's that? That's got to be the fourth tackle, I think. Spander goes across to the left. He's still looking. He was never going to pass that. There was nobody there for him to give it to. Now Dumas, long ball, finds Essex. Essex to Crisp. Crisp, he's still going. Pops one out the back door. He finds Wiley. Wiley looks for the line, but he's about 5 metres short.
Last tackle.
They're way over to the right, but they're spread out to the left. It's Crisp. He puts the kick through. Essex on the chase. A few others in there as well. And Jake Wheeler says, no, thank you. I don't want to play at that. And he kicks it as far as he can off to the northern end of Seaford Oval. 21 remaining, 7-6 to the Blues over the Roos on the MSS Security scoreboard.
Well, that was spirited defence from the Queanbeyan Blues side. I know he had to take it over the dead ball line for safety reasons there at the end, Jake Wheeler, but that was grand final winning stuff. I hope I'm not putting the mockers on him just yet, but that was tremendous defence there on that set by the Blues, and a tremendous tackle out there by Francis Fainafo. Absolutely sensational. And take a look at this for a dropout.
65 metres on the angle. Thank you very much from Terry Campese. The only plus for the Blues on that is that
they're into it now.
Aidan Woods, he was on the charge, and it was like two semi-trailers head on into each other. There's 20 minutes left in this game, and no one's going to have anything left in the tank. As we see Taholo put it down, and they play the ball. The Blues, they're turning up the pressure. The Roos are trying to respond. Oh, it is willing out there at the moment. Half an hour gone in the NRL. It's the Bulldogs 10, St George Illawarra 6. And wow, Taholo, he's got that. We're just checking the replay action for MEJ as he gets up and just completely makes a hash of it. Forgets to hang onto the pill as he gets up, basically. I don't think he'd lost it in the tackle. Nope, he just gets up
from the tackle and
forgets to hang onto the ball. You can't
silly mistake, but you can see the body language there of the Queanbeyan Blues. They knew that was a big break there because they've been forced to defend hard. So that's it's a relief for them. This is going to be an exciting last 20 minutes. 7-6 up, the Blues over the Roos in the Osbrokers Canberra Raiders Cup Rugby League Grand Final at Seaford Oval.
Can we get a 7-all draw and go to extra time? Nobody would have predicted that. These two sides, Joe, this season have absolutely demolished their opposition time and time again. From memory, the Blues had a 291 positive point differential at the end of the regular season. The Roos had 321 points positive differential. And here we are, 19 remaining in the grand final, and it's 7 points to 6. Nobody in their right mind would have said this was going to happen. Kyle O'Donnell on the fourth tackle. He's 25 metres out. Now it's to Campese. Campese puts the kick across field.
Stevens!
Oh, well taken in the in goal area by Mitch Connolly. He can bring it back out to the 20, and the Roos can restart. Connolly trying to get out there in a real hurry. Takes the tap himself. Goes about 5 metres up the middle of the park before he's wrapped up by 3 Blues. The Blues will be wanting to keep the Roos as far away as they can from the halfway line. Now coming forward, it's Nuku Nagir. He's taken 35 out from his own line. Now it's Simbican. Simbican up over the 40. Gets out of one tackle, but immediately wrapped up in the second by Misios and O'Donnell. Little and large, if you like. Simbican plays it back to Spander at dummy half. He's given it to Aiden Woods. That's 3, I think, was the call. Woods, Spander again, always manages to grab a couple of metres on dummy half before he offloads, just helps to turn up the pressure on the Blues. Now he goes for a run himself, puts a kick up to his own advantage, might have been flattened after he kicked it. Referee says play on, nothing in it. Michael Cullen it is, the big forward for the Blues. He took it about 15 out from his own line and gets back to the 20 before he's brought down.
Yeah, Michael Cullen, he did well to take that kick, and gee, you just get the feeling now that it's really shifted up a gear, Chris. Both sides, they're going harder into the tackles, they're moving up harder in defence. 18 minutes to go, 17 and a half to go in the season for both these sides. Anything can happen. One break is going to decide this game, you get the feeling.
If there's a try, you'd imagine that'll be over. Rudiger finds the ball to Ulrich at dummy half. And what have we got here? We've got something happening behind the play.
And a bit of push and shove amongst the players.
I suspect there's going to be some conversation happening here in just a moment. Now, Crisp's got a nasty cut over his left eye. He's copped a stud, I think, in the tackle of Rudiger.
Let's have a look at this.
We'll just see what we can on the Malaganas-Edwards-Johnson
Crisp
replay.
went down under Rudiger. And as he's down on the ground, he might have copped a bit of a...
He's copped a knee and then
he's copped an elbow, I think, first of all. Elbow and then...
Left elbow, left knee, right foot.
Oh, and then he's copped a foot in the face as well.
Yeah.
So let's have a listen to the referee here if we can.
I think we'll have to. You reckon he'll get the souvenir at the end of the game, you know? I flew all the way from Darwin and all I got was this lousy cut over my left eye.
But the penalty's going the way of the Blues.
Yeah, no conversation from the referee down there. We can pick up.
You can hear some passionate fans in the grandstand as well.
Plenty of them. Another try in the NRL. The Bulldogs 14-6 over the St George Illawarra Dragons. That's 34 minutes gone. It was Marcelo Montoya who scored there. Well, the Bulldogs would love nothing better than to end the Dragons season, and they're doing everything they can for it. We'll take you to that game a bit later on this afternoon here on 2CC. But right now, it's Misios to Campese. Campese steps off the left. He's still going across field. He had Spears calling for it. Don't think he saw him. Campese wrapped up just inside the 10. He's just in front of the right upright. They go to the left. Running through with Ulrich. Ulrich has given a ball to offload in the bottom of the pile. Don't tell me it's Kyle O'Donnell who scored.
I think it is the big number 8. He burrowed his way under there.
You're not going to believe this. The try scorers for the Queanbeyan Blues today. Adam Misios, total tries before today, 0. Kyle O'Donnell, total tries before today, 0.
And the two guys, they haven't scored all season, but they get over today. How good is that? Kyle O'Donnell, he had about 4 Roos defenders all over him, but he managed to burrow underneath. The ball came to the left-hand side there and he barged over the line just next to that left-hand upright. And it'll be tough now for the Roos to overcome this one. They were 7-6 up. They'll be now 11-6 up with a kick to come. And Terry Campese, he's out there. He looks to be getting a bit of attention there in the face by the Queanbeyan Blues trainer. We know he had a split lip in that first half. And he might be requiring some attention on that. He looks a bit bashed around down there, does Terry Campese, with 15 and a half to go in this Osbrokers Canberra Raiders Cup Grand Final between the Blues and the Roos. 11-6 with the kick to come to go. So they will go 7 points up here if he can manage to make this conversion attempt, Terry Campese, which will be tough for the Roos to overcome. You can see the shadow now coming over the ground here at Seaford Oval in Queanbeyan. Tremendous Sunday afternoon. It's been a great day out here on Grand Final day through all of the different levels of competition. And this game has been living up to expectations. It's been tremendous. Not too many points scored, but excellent stuff this afternoon, Chris.
Indeed, just running around the grounds while we wait for Campese to take this kick from right in front. In the Australian Ice Hockey League, the season has ended, and unfortunately the Canberra Brave finishing as runners-up, going down to the Melbourne Ice 4-1 in that game this afternoon. It's approaching half-time in the National Rugby League. St George have just pulled one back, 14-10, with a kick to come as far as I can tell.
Campese takes this one, no trouble, so they'll go 13-6 up on the MSS security scoreboard. The Blues over the Roos in the Ospreakers Canberra Raiders Cup Grand Final with just over 15 minutes to play here. The Roos are going to have to dig deep now. Let's see if they even go for the short kick-off here to try and regather possession.
Well, it's a two-score game, and we're doing this afternoon thanks to Harvey Norman, Canberra's electrical superstore, the one and only Harvey Norman in Fyshwick. We're back in the middle of the park. Now, Crisp's been wrapped up like the mummy with a big strip of tape around his head. He does indeed go for the short kick-off.
And it's knocked on.
Yeah, Fainafo it was who flew for it. He's put it down. Now, it's been picked up there by Luke Dumas. Dumas, he gives it off to Tolo Aroha Twinavai, and he gets it up to the 30. So the pressure instantly turned back up. If the Roos score here, it's back to game on. Now it's Spander. He gives it off to Aidan Woods. They're inside the 20. Slow play the ball. Spander finds Josh Ayres. Ayres up to the 10-metre line. Makes another couple. Make it 5 out for the line. He's on his hands and knees. He's got 2 men on his back and he's still going forward. Spander a dummy half again. Will he go himself? No, goes across. Bit of a juggle. Now it's Crisp. Looking on his outside, finds Essex. Gets it to Dumas. Dumas to Twinavai. Twinavai, he's still going. He's got one try. Can he get another one? No. Pushed back into the field of play. He's about 4 metres out, so he got pushed a fair way back. Spander. Now he gives the ball across to Crisp. Crisp looks long, finds the ball to Aidan Woods. Woods is just short of the line. He's right under the post. We've got to be about the 4th tackle here, or is it the last? I'm assuming the 4th. They're saying defend the line, hold the line, and the Roos are pushed back. About 3 metres, you hear the referee calling 5 and last. They go across to the right again. Crisp puts the ball high in the air, and too high in the air. It drifts over the head of Jedi Simbican, drifts over the far touchline, and the Blues will get the ball back at their own 10-metre line to restart play. 13 remaining on the MSS security scoreboard. It's the Blues 13, the Roos 6 here at Seaford Oval. Gareth Widdop's knocked over the conversion in the shadows at half-time in the NRL game. It's the Bulldogs 14, St George Illawarra 12 in the NRL this afternoon, with the Dragons fighting for their NRL survival. It's going to come back in fact to the 20, not to the 10.
Well, they probably can't believe their luck, the Queanbeyan Blues. The Roos have been absolutely horrible in this second half, trying to execute on that last tackle. And I know it shouldn't all be down to Brent Crisp, but there was just too much on that kick. There was no way the winger could regather that and score the try.
Now the Blues just don't want to do anything silly. So Cullen takes it out. Now it's to Campese. He's still going, his Campo. Bounces out of the tackle, gets up to the halfway line. He's about 5 in from touch on the far side. Make it 10 in from touch on the far side of the ground from us in the grandstand here at Seaford Oval. Now Kyle O'Donnell. I would have loved the odds on the 2 guys in the Blues lineup who had not scored a try all season, being their 2 try scorers this afternoon. Now it's Rutland, picked up in the tackle. Slammed on his back on the 30-metre line. Campese again decides to kick on the 4th, puts the grubber kick through and into touch. This is Terry Campese. That's a very wise head there. He knows they're getting it over the touchline now. Just takes another 30 or 40 seconds off the clock.
Yeah, he's looking to slow things down with 12 minutes left on the clock here, and playing for that field position, Terry Campese. As you can see, all of the players, they're starting to get tired now. Late stages of this grand final. 11:45 to go, and they're more than a try up. They've just got to try and keep playing like they've been playing the rest of the game. They can't try to get too cute with it.
From the scrum, it's Mitch Connolly. Takes the ball up to the 20 before he's wrapped up in the tackle. Now Nuku Nagia up to the 30. They're playing up the middle of the park of the Roos. Half-time in the NRL, by the way. 14-12, Bulldogs over the Dragons. Bringing it forward for the Queanbeyan Kangaroos is Josh Ayres, up to the 40-metre line now. They need something different, something unusual perhaps, and I'm not sure where it's going to come from. Still on the charge. Offload comes. Finding Josh Essex. Essex is flattened in the tackle by Missios.
They get a penalty
here. A little bit high perhaps.
Yeah, I think it was Missios a little high over his corresponding number.
Not what you need to do at this point of proceedings. 11 minutes remaining.
So they've just got to defend well here, the Blues. And we can see some remonstration here from Chris.
I
think it's split from anything else other than him lashing out.
Okay, your penalty. Time on.
Well, he shouldn't be arguing with the ref. They get the penalty anyway and they get the opportunity, Brent Crisp. So they'll go on the attack about 30 metres out and they've got to find something. They've got to find something to execute well on the last.
Oh, that's for sure. It's Ayres. Jeez, look at that. He's made 8 metres in that tackle to get it up to about 22 out. Cross to the right. Taking it forward is Nagir. Inside the 20. So they're in the red zone again on the second tackle. Spander has directed traffic well from dummy half. Puts a long ball across, finds Crisp. Crisp gives it to Taholo. Taholo's offloaded further afield. About 3 metres out. We're about as far as we can get from us here. It was Baxter in the bottom of the pile.
Gee, it's hard to see those numbers in the sunlight, Chris.
It is.
Fair dinkum.
It is. We should mention for anyone who hasn't been with us, it's white numbers on a white background as we see Taholo make the charge for the line. Has he lost the ball in there? I think he might have. He's put it to ground, so the Queanbeyan Blues fans are applauding. The Queanbeyan Roos fans are not so happy about it. Yeah, we didn't mention this, but it's white numbers on a white background for the Queanbeyan Roos, which makes it a little bit hard to pick. And I mentioned it to you before the game, as the shadows make their way across the ground here, Joe, when they run out into the sunshine, it's just dazzling and you just lose it.
You told me that next season that the league has to approve all the jumpers. This is the most offending strip. No commentator can see the numbers on the back of the players of these Roos, let me tell you.
Yeah, you know what I'm calling by? The colour of their boots. I kid you not.
I tell you, though, on a serious note, the Roos will be very disappointed this afternoon, particularly in this second half. They haven't been able to execute on the last, and it's just very disappointing. They've had so much ball close to that Blues line, but it's not over yet. Still 9 minutes to go.
No, we saw the Queanbeyan Roos 2 weeks ago ratchet up 5 tries in 25 minutes. They only need 2 here, and they've still got plenty of time. 9 minutes to go, but the Blues have the ball at the moment. Now, this is going to be silly here. O'Donnell, he grabbed hold of Crisp's leg there to try and milk a penalty. He's lucky he didn't give one away himself. Campese hangs onto the ball, wrapped up in the tackle just a couple of metres further upfield. Now it's Cullen, up over the 40. Ball's gone free, but it's a penalty to the Blues. Referee Oliver Levito calling it a strip. 8 minutes remaining. We might just hear a word here.
He can't go. Talk to him.
Yeah, the referee spotted what I saw there from Michael Cullen. I think it was Cullen I called before, who getting up and grabbed the tackler's leg, grabbed Crisp's leg to try and milk the penalty. And the referee saying he can't do that. Here's my question: if he can't do that, then why did he get away with
why
doing that?
They've got the penalty.
Instead, the penalty's gone the other way. Rudiger with the tap on the attacking 40. Makes it fairly easily 8 metres before he runs into Brent Crisp. And Brent Crisp and Wiley giving him a bit of a push and shove. Stein now makes another 10. I tell you, Crisp is involved in so much defensive work now, as well as attacking work, and they need someone else to step up and help him out to the Roos. Rutland up to the 10-metre line, making his way into the shadows on the western side of the ground. Now going the other way is Ulrich. He's a couple of metres short. I think that's 4. It is 4. Rudiger at dummy half. High ball to Campese. He has to stop and prop to catch it. Spins through 360. Charges for the line himself. Puts the ball back. Now they come around and it's an offload and it's picked up by Josh Essex. I think Essex scored an intercept try 2 weeks ago between these sides. He went 70 metres with it. He's picked up, I think that's his second or third intercept that he's picked up this afternoon.
Still fighting hard here, the Roos, making good meekers through Queanbeyan. Up over the 30-metre line.
They score off this set. It's going to get really exciting for the last 5 minutes. Not that it's not exciting now. And underneath, that's Aidan Woods. Now they come across to the right. Essex, left rather. Essex steps to the right. Offloads just as he gets tackled. 5 and last as Josh Ayres has the ball on the 30-metre line. Spander almost obstructed at dummy half. Essex puts the ball high. comes out of the shade into the sun, bounces a second time and then goes over the touchline on the far side of the ground.
So they'll get the ball back here, the Blues, and they're going to have to find something very quickly here, the Roos, if they're going to want to try and claw this back. Down to 6 minutes to go. 13-6 the score in favour of the Blues on the MSS security scoreboard. All that replay action thanks to Malaganis Edwards Johnson. And the dying stages here, we're seeing some players cramping up. I might get ready myself to go down onto the field, I think, Chris.
No problem, Joe. Bring us some stuff from the sideline. That'll be with thanks to the Australian Betting Company. We'll bring you some of the atmosphere and action from the presentations as Campese picks the ball up from the back of the scrum, deep in his own territory, and shuffles out towards the 20. They've got a 7-point break, and it's with McInnes. He's up to the 30-metre line. Ulrich, Campese gives it across, finds Scott Rutland. Rutland pushing it up to 35 out. Over on the eastern side of the ground, shadows are almost completely across the park here at Seaford Oval. Campese takes it up to the 40, gets absolutely flattened by the tackler. Now it's with Rutland. 5 and last, the call from the referee. Right on the halfway line. So Campese takes it, kicks a grubber kick downfield. Jedi Simbican flashes at it with a boot. Now, if he's made contact on that, this could be good night nurse, because if he's made any contact on it, it'll be a feed to the Queanbeyan Blues. But I think he may have actually got away with it and not touched it. Brent Crisp's got the ball, so he certainly wants to feed the scrum. The referee's not taking it off him, so it'll be a scrum on their own 10-metre line for the Queanbeyan Kangaroos. While that scrum packs down, checking the NRL score. Reminder, it's half-time there. The Bulldogs 14 lead the Dragons 12. Closing stages of that match later this afternoon for our radio audience on 2CC. Jedi Simbican, he offloads. Now he's given the ball here to Mitchell Connolly. Connolly's in space. He gets up to the 30 and he loses the ball in the tackle. One-on-one strip. It's gone backwards from him. He's picked it up, and I think it's going to be called a knock-on from the Queanbeyan Blues. So the Roos are going to get the ball back here. Gee, time's starting to slip away for them. Down to 3 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock. And we've got time off, as you can hear the referee. Let's see if we can get anything else. Any other conversation down there? Just taking their time to get to the scrum. Replay action for Malaganis Edwards Johnson, Canberra's compensation specialist. We saw Connolly spun around, lost the ball forward off a Blues player. Now it's Jedi Simbican for the Queanbeyan Roos. Still unable to get them into attacking territory, and it looks like he's been hurt in the tackle. Oh, he's clutching at his left knee or calf. Oh, this is not what you want to see. This bloke, Jedi Simbican, he is one of the most exciting players, has been all season in this Osbrokers Canberra Raiders Cup for 2017. Might just see if Joe Prevedella can tell us anything down there, Joe.
It's exciting stuff down here at ground level. I've got no specific information here for you, Chris, with 3.5 left on the clock, but it's exciting, it's tense. You can feel the emotion down here on the benches of both sides in the closing stages of this game, but no specific information here on that injury.
Just keep an eye on it for us if you can. It just looks like his knee's gone into the turf and plugged over on that far side of the ground from you, Joe, so we'll see if we can find it anymore. I'm just wondering whether he's going to get a stretcher off here. We're seeing a couple of people waving for him, and he is not moving on the ground. This is horrible stuff. As I was saying, Jedi Simbican, he's one of the most exciting players in this Canberra Raiders Cup. He scored 17 tries across the course of the season. Always distinctive out there in his headband that sometimes keeps his hair sitting almost like Sideshow Bob. He's very distinctive out there on the field. But this time you can see him just lying motionless on the turf on his back. This is terrible. This is not what you want to see for any player.
Certainly not what you want to see with 3 minutes to go in a grand final. Well, at any time. But,
no. I think they're going to stretcher him off here, so it's going to hold things up. 3 minutes remaining. 7 points the difference here. Oh, it's a tough old call. Not a great deal else we can say at the moment. So there's a call for a stretcher, and I just don't know where it's coming from.
Well, when I was calling here a number of weeks ago, Chris, it took near on 40 minutes to an hour for an ambulance to get here to the ground, and things were very, very slow then. I'm not sure what's going on here at the moment, but hopefully we'll see some medical staff emerge in a minute. Perhaps they're down under the grandstand in the rooms.
Well, it is a grand final. You'd like to hope that there's additional support staff out there. As we've got a trainer running out. Here we go. They found a stretcher, so they're going to be able to get him out and off the field. This is a real shame for Jed Simbican. He's overcome a hamstring injury too late in the season. I know he missed at least one game late in the season, if not two, with a hammy. And we know that hamstrings can be difficult injuries because they can flare up again. But this is a knee, just the way that he clutched at it. My guess would be, Joe, that he went down in the tackle, his knee plugged into the turf and twisted a little bit.
Yeah, just an awkward movement there, Chris, I think.
They are holding his left leg. They've tipped him now up onto his side to get the stretcher underneath him. And they've got him on the stretcher there, but that really doesn't look good. I know that the sports-loving crowd here at Queanbeyan are going to give him a tremendous ovation as he comes off the ground. This is not what you want to see for any player at any time, but especially not one of the more exciting players in our competition, and even more so in a grand final, as Jedi Simbican is stretched off. He's got his right leg straightened out. His left leg was the one that I think the knee went into the turf and twisted perhaps, and there's a trainer there actually holding that left knee and keeping it at a 90-degree angle. So I'm wondering whether that's to try and prevent any further damage to it.
Well, hopefully, Chris, it's nothing too serious. Hopefully it'll be able to be resolved this afternoon. But Josh Essex coming back onto the ground for the Roos. They'll be wanting to get things back underway. It's 3.5 to go.
Well, sideline eye, Joe Prividello for the Australian Betting Company. See them in their new location at 78 Hoskin Street, Mitchell. Play back underway. And that was Taholo taking it up over halfway. Now it's with Steve Dunn. He goes another 5 metres. Queanbeyan Blues just have to really hold the line at this point. With 3 minutes exactly left on the clock and 7 points the difference, they are very much in the box seat. But you can't write off this Roos side. Ayres gets the ball up to the 30-metre line. As we wait for Dent. Dent across to the right, gives it to Crisp. Crisp puts the chip kick through. Campese takes it facing the wrong way. Ball's gone free, dived on by Thomas Rudiger. Referee has said there's a knock on in there. So it'll be a feed. Well, this really is the last roll of the dice now for the Queanbeyan Kangaroos. Let's go Blues, says the referee. And now he blows time off. So what's left? 2 minutes 20. They would need to score here. What would you do? Would you, if you scored the try, would you take the conversion or would you forego the conversion? Oh, so many things in the equation. Crisp, he puts the ball behind Essex. Essex picks it up, runs around behind one. He's collared by Troy Wiley and brought to ground. They're back at the 20-metre line, directly in front of the sticks. Nagiri. Now he's brought down, 15 out. Dent comes in to dummy half. He's going to try and direct the traffic. Goes across to the right, gives it to Ayres. Ayres pushes for the posts. He's still going. 3 metres out. And now the referee gives up the penalty, with Ulrich taking too long to get off. I think it's going to be too late because we're down to the last 100 seconds of this game. It goes to Essex. He's charging for the posts. Wrapped up 5 metres out. McGuinness taking his time to get off the player. Dent in a dummy half again. Now it's Crisp. They go across to the right. Wiley juggled it, lost the ball. It goes to ground. It's been called a knock on. Yeah. Terry Campese punches the air with 75 seconds remaining, Joe. I think they know it's done.
Keegan Sense victory. That was the last roll of the dice, you would think, for the Queanbeyan Kangaroos side. And unfortunately very disappointing given the fashion they've been playing those last tackles, particularly in this second half this afternoon. They've had plenty of ball close to the Blues line, but they just haven't been able to finish off and get the goods. So very disappointing for them. And with 45 seconds left on the clock, I think it's a foregone conclusion here that it'll be a Blues victory at Seaford.
Terry Campese taking plenty of time. Here's the NRL experience coming through. Not even worrying about feeding it quickly. And suddenly he gets the ball and he runs around and he suddenly thinks, oh, I can go a long way here. And he goes a very long way, about 25 metres, most of them across field. He's wrapped up in the tackle just outside his own 20, very slowly to his feet. 20 seconds remaining in the season. Francis Fainafo runs straight at Spanda, pushes him out of the way. Has a go at Connolly, takes Connolly with him. He's called held on the sponsors logo. 9 seconds left. They play the ball. They kick it into touch. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here comes the siren. And the 2017 Osbrokers Canberra Raiders Cup premiers are the Queanbeyan Blues. 13 points to 6 over the Queanbeyan Kangaroos. The Blues won their first 14 games of the season. They went into the finals as favourites. They then lost their first final to their crosstown opponents, but they've struck back with a vengeance in the one that counts. They've won the grand final 13 points to 6. I don't think it's a scoreline that too many people would have been expecting. We're going to get down onto the field very soon with Joe Privadello. We'll just let the Queanbeyan Blues have just a moment to let that sink in.
You can probably hear the emotion of all the Blues players down here. And I'll just manage to get the Blues captain. He's a very happy man, Terry Campese. Congratulations on Premiership 2017. How does that feel?
Oh, unreal. It's been a long time between drinks for myself. Coming back to the club that I love, I grew up with. We had a great start to the season. We let it slip there for a few weeks, but credit to the boys. This defence was outstanding against the best in the league, Crispy and the Roos. They had some great form coming in here. I can't commend them enough. And just everyone. Queanbeyan was buzzing, mate. It was unreal. Just loved it, yes.
You mentioned the defence there. Not many points scored in this match today, and both sides, they had to work hard on their own goal line. It was a pretty spirited effort from your guys, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. We started off first 10-15 minutes on their line, and it felt like we were on our line the rest of the game, really. Kyle O'Donnell scored. What a legend. I got him. As soon as I knew I was getting a job, I gave him a call, and he scored the last try of the season, and it was his first for the club, so I couldn't stop cheering when he got over.
And mate, Adam Missios as well scored. He hasn't scored at all this season, so the two players in your squad that haven't scored all season, they managed to score today.
We waited to the last game, but mate, they're the most important ones too. That's definite. We had some uni guys come in. Had Kyle, like I said, out of retirement. Scott Rutland out of retirement. Mate, what an effort. To beat the best side in 2 years in a row. Unreal. Yeah.
Mate, it was a physical clash. It didn't take long for yourself to be requiring the stitches there, mate.
Yeah, I haven't got stitches yet, but I'm sure we'll be off to hospital, or a few rums might numb it. But I can't be happier. It's just, it's what I love, football, and I want to coach. So hopefully this is a step forward for myself.
And mate, just finally, it's going to be very exciting next week. This was just the precursor. Next week you're running for council. How's that going to go?
Yeah, it's probably harder than this. Definitely. I don't know much about that, but I'm with a strong team. Kendrick Winchester, he wants to do a lot to the sport and around town, so just looking forward to it, yeah.
Hey, ask him about the field goal, Joe.
Your field goal there, Terry, as well. It was unconventional, was an understatement, but you got it over, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, I had no other options. I didn't know what to do. I was a bit lost out there. We got it over, and it ended up being one of the deciders in the end. If they scored, then it would have went to golden point, but...
Well, Terry, congratulations. You deserve it, and it's fantastic for the town.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thanks for your support.
Joe Privadello, sideline eye for the Australian Betting Company, with the victorious captain coach from the Queanbeyan Blues, Terry Campese. Ugliest field goal you'll ever want to see, but he got it over. Then they backed it up with a try a few minutes later. Joe wandering around at ground level, and I'm sure we'll hear plenty more from the huddle here at the ground this afternoon. Presentation's not too far away, but Joe, you've got someone else for us, have you?
Not just yet. I think it might be best to go to a commercial break, Chris, and I'll try to bring someone to you afterwards.
Done deal. Joe Prividello will be at ground level for a little while. Presentation still to come, but repeating the score here on the MSS Security scoreboard in the Ospreakers Canberra Raiders Cup Grand Final for this year. It was the Queanbeyan Blues 13 over the Queanbeyan Roos 6. We'll take a break.
We have both teams towards the presentation area, please. Blues and your supporters towards the presentation area. Thanks also to the Kangaroos. You can start moving towards the presentation area. That will be appreciated.
Here at Seaford Oval, it's been a thrilling afternoon of rugby league to conclude the Ospreakers Canberra Raiders Cup competition, and you've heard it all on the 2CC Harvey Norman Electrical Superstore Raiders Cup call. It's the Queanbeyan Blues 13 over the Queanbeyan Roos 6 to wrap this game up. Presentation still to happen here. The Queanbeyan Blues milling around in a huddle at ground level. The Queanbeyan Roos are slowly but surely making their way across. And Joe Prividello, you have one of the vanquished.
Yeah, down here with Nakura Nagiri for the Queanbeyan Roos. Pretty disappointing afternoon for you, mate.
Yeah, a bit disappointed, but credit to the Blues boys for great game out there. You win some, you lose some, but good credit to them.
Mate, a couple of weeks ago you absolutely blew them off the park in that first half, in that semi-final. Certainly wasn't like that this afternoon. It was a much tougher defensive effort, wasn't it?
Oh, definitely, yeah. It comes down onto the day, Blues ran over us and we can't help that. But yeah, full credit. Just what I said, yeah, full credit to the Blues. They played good.
It seemed difficult there, mate, to be able to convert off that last tackle. You had a lot of ball down close to the Blues line in that second half, but you just couldn't get over the line. We got to get those little things right. We made a lot of mistakes on our 22, and we couldn't get over the line. But as I said, credit to the Blues on the defence tonight. Well, commiserations, Nakura. Sorry about the loss today, mate, but well done, and obviously it's a good event for Queanbeyan.
Yeah, of course, definitely. Good to have a good old rivalry there, but a bit disappointed about the game today, but, we'll move on and be better next year, I guess.
Good on you, mate. Thanks for speaking with us.
Cheers. Thank you.
Joe Prividello sideline for the Australian Betting Company, and Brent Crisp just walked past you while you were chatting there, Joe. I don't know whether you're aware. He's over to your left if you keep on wandering. He's on the Blues logo, in fact. He's wandered quite away from you, but he looks an absolutely shattered man. Meanwhile, I can see further over to the left, I can see Terry Campese, who looks like he's in about seventh heaven down there. The presentation's not too far away. Not sure if we'll be able to get another interview in before the presentations, because, Joe, you're going to have to go the run if you need to. But
we've got Aaron Gorrell down here, captain coach of the Roos. It must be pretty gut-wrenching, mate. It was a close one.
Yeah, it was. We just weren't good enough today. We had plenty of opportunities, and we didn't take them. Every opportunity they had, they took. So, all credit to them. That's, in a close game like that, you can't just give up opportunities like we did.
Is there anything different you do? You had a lot of ball close to their line in that second half there, and you just couldn't seem to get the goods on the last tackle.
Yeah, we just tried to score every play, to be honest. We just played dumb footy, and we didn't try to build pressure, and it was there to be won, and we just weren't good enough.
Mate, this is the last game in your career on the field. Any reflections on that?
No, I've enjoyed every minute of it. It would have been nice to get the points today, but that's footy, that's sport. You just have to be at your best every day.
You'll be back again next year, but this was just a tremendous event for the town of Queanbeyan, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It's good for the town to have both sides here, and we were the best two sides all year. They were the best, in my opinion, all year, and they deserved today. It would have been nice to steal it from them, but we just weren't good enough.
Commiserations, Aaron.
Thanks, mate.
And Joe, we might get you to run over to that presentations table and see if you can throw the microphone in front of the boys there, so we can hear what Terry Campese has to say as he goes up to pick up the premiership trophy. As Terry Campese receives his medal, photos being taken, which will give Joe time to get over and bring you all the excitement here. Beating the Blues have won this one 13 points to 6. And, no words from Terry Campese, so there you go. In the NRL, still 14-12 to the Bulldogs over the Dragons. 52 minutes gone in that one. We will bring you the closing stages of that game this afternoon as Aaron Gorrell comes up to receive the medal and say a few words. Joe Wildcampo comes back up. I'm assuming that previous call-up was for him as man of the match, was it? Have I got that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
So, just getting the award here.
Credit to you and the way that you coach the boys and get them up each and every week. Crispy, I know it would have been hard, mate, being up in the mines and coming back, and just thanks to you to being in our game makes it a better place. Queanbeyan this week, thanks to everyone that come out, all the fans, all our friends, to make it a great spectacle. So thank you. And just congratulations to everyone from League Tag, 18s, the girls, Reggie's, in first grade for being here today. It's a great effort. It's a long season, and to make it to today, it's credit to you and your coaches. Now call up the team?
Yes.
Awesome. Call up the team. Number 1, Jake Wheeler.
Tell me Campo's not enjoying this, Joe.
Mate, I think he is.
One of the big union recruits.
So they're just Terry Campese now calling up all of the premiership winning players there for the Queanbeyan Blues. They're obviously elated during this this celebration, and the Roos having to watch on.
Well, what we might do, Joe, is let this play out for our Bar TV audience. We'll take a quick break on the radio and come back with a few more details from here at Seaford Oval. I can tell you in the NRL that the St George Illawarra Dragons have just scored with a Matthew Duffy try and a Gareth Whittle conversion. They now lead the Canterbury Bulldogs 18-14, 53 gone in that game. We'll take a break from Seaford Oval. More on the local rugby league shortly here on 2CC.
What do you want to do, Chris?
And repeating that final score, it was the Queanbeyan Blues 13, the Queanbeyan Roos 6 after a 6-all half-time score. The last few presentations taking place down at ground level. While that happens, just run through... Oh, no, we'll wait here because this is the moment we've all been waiting for. Terry Campese has the trophy and holds it aloft.
So he's just lifted the trophy aloft here, Terry Campese, and no doubt he'll be waiting for his teammates to join in. TV cameras doing their thing as he's holding the cup up. He's loving every moment of this afternoon as the light fades here at Seaford Oval, and he's taking the cup, gives it to a youngster who's going to take it over to the family and friends, I think, of the Queanbeyan Blues. And they're going to get set for the team photo. And this is the moment they've been waiting all season for. And they are absolutely elated, as you can imagine, here at Seaford Oval this afternoon. We might see if we can try to get a little bit closer for this one as they get ready to form up for this team photograph.
I just want to work out whether the club song's fit for broadcast or not.
Well, we'll see. We'll find out in a moment. Have the delay ready back in the studio. But it's... where else would you rather be on a Sunday afternoon, Chris? This is absolutely tremendous stuff. At this time of the year right across the country, as we said earlier in the day, these things are happening, and this is the jubilation of local sport and the culmination of it for Queanbeyan here as the Blues. They come in ready for the official team photograph and no doubt to sing a bit of a chant. A few of the youngsters getting in there as well. And Terry Campese, he's running out of space. He's calling his own kids in here. He's going to lie down in front of the crew.
It looks like Cleopatra.
He does a bit, doesn't he?
The Egyptian court.
And they have a bit of a cheer.
Looks like we're going to save the club song for the change rooms. I don't know if that's a club song as much as a war cry, Joe.
Oh, who knows? Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. They've won a premiership. Their name will be on the trophy for all eternity, Joe. We might let you race back up here to the box, and we might take one more quick break before we wrap up here at Seaford Oval. It has been a cracking day of football, a cracking afternoon of a first grade grand final action. We might just very quickly run through the scores of the day before we get our final thoughts on the afternoon here in the first game back at 9:25 this morning. Thank you very much. It was the West Belconnen Warriors 14-8 winners in the ladies league tag over the Goulburn Workers Bulldogs. In the under-18s, the Tradies Rams, the Woden Valley Rams 20 over the Goulburn Workers Bulldogs 16 in a game that went right down to the wire. The Katrina Fanning Shield was a bit of a cakewalk in the end for the Queanbeyan Blues, 36-16 victors over the Goulburn Stockmen. The reserve grade game, oh gee, that was exciting to watch. The West Belconnen Warriors got home over the Queanbeyan Blues 18 points to 16, and in a game that will go down as a classic in the first grade grand final for the Osbrokers Canberra Raiders Cup, it was the Queanbeyan Blues 13 over the Queanbeyan Kangaroos 6. And alongside me calling the action this afternoon has been Joe Previdello. Joe, some final thoughts before we hand back to NRL action.
Well, it was an exciting game, and it was a type of game that will live up to what a grand final should be. It was a tremendous defensive effort from both sides, but the Blues, they were the ones who managed to get the points at the end of the day. You heard there in the post-match interviews that I did with the losing Blues, the Roos players. They were disappointed that they just couldn't convert that good field position into points, and that's what it came down to at the end of the day. It was tight stuff, but the Blues got over.
They did indeed. The scorers for the vanquished, for the Queanbeyan Roos, it was a try in the first half to Tolakana Aroha Twinavai, converted by Brent Crisp. And for the Queanbeyan Blues, well, it was two players who had not crossed the stripe for them all season, Adam Missios and Kyle O'Donnell, who scored the try.
How good is that?
I can't believe that.
That is tremendous stuff.
You would have got $1 million to 1 on Sportsbet on that if they were fielding on it. Terry Campese converted both the tries. He added a field goal, ugly and wobbly, but it doesn't matter. Half-time it was 6 points apiece. Full-time it was 13 points to 6 in favour of the Queanbeyan Blues. And looking at the season as a whole, the Blues won their first 14 games and probably deserving premiers. Joe, I think that's about where we can draw stumps on it. Might appropriate to say that because they were playing cricket on the adjoining ground earlier today.
Yeah, it's that time of the year, Chris, where the sports are starting to change. But thank you very much for your call this afternoon. It's been a great day.
It's been great to work alongside you, Joe. Thanks to you to everyone who's been watching on our Bar TV audience. We bid you farewell and thank you for your support on video across the course of the season. For our radio audience on 2CC now, we wrap up here at Seaford Oval and we hand you over to our NRL coverage team. With 15 minutes remaining, it is St George 20, Canterbury 14 in a game that the St George Illawarra Dragons need to win to make it into the NRL finals for 2017. On behalf of Joe Previdello and everyone involved in the 2CC Harvey Norman Electrical Superstore Raiders Cup call team, this is Chris Coleman saying good afternoon.